Hello, everybody. How do y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and welcome to Three Count Commentaries, the live stream. Once again, we're back, and we're going to be doing something amazing. We're going to be doing a live watch along for the first ever episode of Monday Night Raw. We'll also do episode two just to sort of stretch out the show here. Is anybody here? Can you hear me? Is everybody here? Can you all hear me? Um, so that's not all that we're going to be doing though, because there is still current events. Stuff is still going on. So we will be doing current events in between um, different things on this show. So during at various points throughout the show, I will be diving into current events. Um, Basically, a lot of the things that's been going on for a little while now. Of course, is going to be clearly a lot of stuff that involves WWE and the sale and
A
Vince and
little
the
while now.
lawsuits and all this kind of stuff. But I want to make
That
sure
involves
everybody who wants to follow along when it comes to the live stream, I want to everybody to make sure everybody is there. We're going to start the live stream portion. The live stream portion, the watch along portion, at approximately 3 minutes. So I want everybody to keep an eye on how long I've been on this air because at about 3 minutes in, we're going to start episode one of Monday Night Raw, which aired January 11th, 1993. So this week, 30 years ago, Monday Night Raw was on the air. Your boy was all of 9 years old and did not have cable and did not watch a single episode of Monday Night Raw until at least 1994. So um, I've watched quite a bit of these Raws in recent years. I think last year I had a nice little run of watching these old school Raws up till about April of '93, and then I lost all of my notes in a house fire. I guess. Well, the house didn't get set on fire. I just lost my notes. I don't know where they are, and I gave up after after I lost all of my notes to like 10 episodes of Raw, maybe more, maybe about 12. I just gave up. So you know what? This might actually be a weekly thing where we watch episodes of Monday Night Raw. That could be a weekly thing in order to keep everybody interested. We just do a live Raw watch along throughout the entire history of Raw. We could do that. I don't know. I was considering it because I think everybody kind of likes the watch alongs. But I want to give people some time to really pour in. Leeds LZTN Pyro, Special J, Ninja. Hello, 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 individually and together. Top Dog. Hello. I think it's Top Dog. Wasn't this your idea to do a? Because Flex is giving me a lot of credit for this. I stole this idea. I think it might have been either Top Dog or WG Phil who gave me the idea to do a watch along of Monday Night Raw. I just took it to the next level by adding the second episode too, because the first episode was only 45 minutes. So hey, I just wanted to get everybody together, give everybody an opportunity to get near the network and trying to get this thing started. I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. I said it was going to be started at 3 minutes, but I guess it's probably going to start probably at 5. Let's go with 5. So appreciate everybody who's stopping in. We're going to do this. We got some throughout this thing. We got some good news. We got some bad news, and we got news. Both personal and professional of everything that's been going on. This is going to be a very interesting stream, and I want everybody to really to hunker down, get you some popcorn. My mama likes popcorn with jalapeno peppers. Did anybody else do that? I don't eat jalapeno peppers. I can't stand them. But my mama's just, she's obsessed with this shit now. She's talking about don't knock it till you try it. I'm like, I don't eat jalapeno peppers ever. So why would I eat jalapeno peppers with popcorn? That's crazy. Um, All right, so let's get your popcorn and your jalapeno peppers and your Sprite or whatever. Yes, this is the 1 hour era of Monday Night Raw. Hopefully you guys do not have ads on your Peacock because I don't. So we're going to be in different points. All right, so let's get started. We're going to do a little bit of a countdown, and then we're going to get started on the show. Okay. Um, Special J says that his girl does it. The jalapeno peppers on the popcorn, Midwest shit. Oh yeah, they bumpkins for show. I mean, Detroit is in the Midwest for sure, but and we imported a lot of our bumpkin behavior from our parents and grandparents who come from like Alabama and stuff. So we inherited bumpkin behavior. We didn't necessarily choose the bumpkin life as much as it just happens to be in our bloodstream. All right. 6 minutes in, I'm still just kind of preambling. Are you guys ready? Let's do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So we get a wonderful, wonderful shot of New York City. This alone is worth the price of admission. Sean Mooney is outside. I think this is the Manhattan Center out here. Look at how professional he looks. He's wearing a bow tie. He's got his little hey, there's Bobby the Brain Heenan in a black jacket. This is awesome. I have the captions on my TV. Oh, Rob Bartlett. Oh God, damn it, that guy's here. But Sean Mooney is great. Well, he was great. He, of course, nobody could hold a candle to Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan is, one of the best ever at everything that involves pro wrestling. And now he wants to go in the building. We see the old school Monday Night Raw entrance, which I loved as a kid. This is probably my favorite WWF Raw entrance. It's a classic. This and the old Superstars entrance are my favorites. This is the era I grew up in. This is the stuff that got me jazzed every Monday night when I got to go over to my friend's house and watch Monday Night Raw when my mom would let me. I would have to call and be like, "Mom, can I? It'll be until 10 o'clock." And then when Raw became 2 hours, it became until 11. Then I would walk home in the dark, but whatever. You can see from the first episode of Monday Night Raw, there's a lot of stuff going on that Vince McMahon hates. Rob Bartlett is chewing gum on TV. How could y'all listen to Vince McMahon on commentary? He sucks. No, Vince is great. I'm telling you, Vince is tremendous. What he misses as far as moves, he makes up for it in terms of storytelling and enthusiasm. Vince is tremendous as a he's tremendous. Legitimately, he's excellent. I love Vince McMahon on commentary. He definitely needs somebody with him, but he's great. Here's Coco Beware. Somebody worst WWE costumes. They've been picking on High Energy the last couple of days. Coco Beware has terrible gear. I don't know what was up to Checkers. The high top fade was a big thing back then too. Coco Beware was super over. Look at how intimate this building is. I like these small buildings because they are so intimate and the people are so tight together that it makes everything feel more realistic. This is the positive about indie wrestling, because when you watch an indie wrestling show, everybody's so close together. Like when I was in GCW shows and stuff like that, you'd be sitting on each other's pockets. There's an intimacy there that was really good. Okay, so the first match we got here is Yokozuna versus Coco Beware. I wonder how this is going to go. I bet Coco Beware is about to get in here and work over Yokozuna and do a Canadian Destroyer and pin him in 42 minutes. Let's see how, old wrestling sucks. Oh, Rodney Anwai. Where did they get the idea for him to play a sumo wrestler? That seems to be pretty ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous if you think about it. He doesn't even look Japanese. I mean, he really doesn't. He's just brown. Like, he's the most brown Japanese guy. Well, I guess all Japanese people are kind of Okay, so to give you while we're waiting, we'll give you a little bit of a rundown. Hopefully you people made it this far. So here are the top 3 or 4 stories that we're going to be talking about throughout the show at some point. 1, Fox losing money on SmackDown. 2, the Khans are in the pool to buy WWE. 3, Axios puts out a statement saying that Stephanie and Triple H were opposed to the sale of WWE. And of course, the lawsuit that was in Bloomberg and about Vince McMahon and his abuses of power and his violation of his fiduciary responsibility. So at some point, we'll be talking about all 4 of those or 5 of those things. Yes, High Energy is the team of Coco Beware and Owen Hart, and that's the gear that he's wearing right now is part of the tag team of High Energy with Owen Hart. Owen Hart wore something similar, and he looked absolutely ridiculous in it. I see some empty chairs. I know Vince don't like that, but people like Coco. They're fully behind Coco. You can look into the crowd and see that the crowd is very mixed. You see mostly men, but you see some children. The Icro Pro banner. I don't know what was Icro Pro was a mistake, wasn't it? Oh, look at Coco's selling of Yokozuna's power. It's crazy how they're selling Yokozuna's power like he got muscle and it's just that. You know, he flew across the room like Yokozuna got like the biggest guns on earth, but he's just a fat guy. You know, whatever. But Coco was actually small for this era. He was probably the size of an average wrestler today, except for he was wider. You know, he was actually better built, but he's probably about the same height as some of the average wrestlers today. Yoko's just a big dude. He's just big all over, for Christ's sake. Wow. Look at this. Now, this is the storytelling, right? Coco Beware has done nothing in this match but tell the story of Yokozuna's size. He's smaller than Yoko, so he's trying to bounce off the ropes and see what he can do, and nothing. And the crowd is like, "Oh, Yoko." And you can see that Coco is he's selling it. He's not selling by flopping it all over the place, but he's selling Yokozuna's size in frustration because he's trying to do stuff to Yoko and it's not working. So it's very interesting. WG Phil says Owen had the Roman Reigns effect where the team member takes the team's theme. High Energy's theme was Owen Hart's theme. I thought he had a different theme when he was in what's the name? Oh, Yoko does one move, which is the leg drop, and the crowd is standing up because that's all he needed to do. That was it. Everybody feels that the match is over now after that one big leg drop. That's it. But Yoko continues, and Coco Beware is pretty much dead. You spent the first maybe 2 or 3 minutes really putting over Yoko's size, and now Yoko uses his size. He just did the leg drop. Boom, the big body crush in the corner. Knocked him down, simple. Forearm shiver, knocks him right into place for the bonsai drop. This is simple pro wrestling. It's simple as all hell. Goddamn, why do you have to complicate things? What's up, Mongo? It feels good to see a watch along on something other than the Attitude Era for once. Well, yeah, I get tired of that shit too. Yoko won. He's sweating, but because it's hot in there, not because he did any work. He's sweating because he's hot and fat, not because he did any work. But this was very effective. If I'd have watched this during, when it happened, I'd have thought Yoko was unstoppable because this was before the Royal Rumble. He hadn't won the Royal Rumble yet. So this to me would have been like, whoa, what are you going to do against this big dude? Top Dog, would you do a Ruthless Aggression era Raw watch along? I recommend the one where Cena got drafted to Raw. I don't know. I'll consider it. WG Phil says Owen changed the theme around 97, 98 to Brett's theme. to Brett's theme to enough is enough. Yeah, the enough's enough and it's time for a change. I didn't like that. I like the original Owen Hart theme. I like that theme song. So yeah, the Royal Rumble is January 24th. So when is the 24th? That's a Tuesday here, right? Can we watch Royal Rumble 93? It'll be the 30th anniversary of that Royal Rumble. It's bad though. It's not good. Hey, look, it's Raw Girls. It's Raw Girls. She's wearing a skimpy thing and her hair is all over her head. It looked like she's wearing one of those Davy Crockett bonnets on her head. Like, you know, those right where they kill like and skin a raccoon and put it on and turn it into a hat. That's what like she's wearing on her goddamn head. I didn't know what High Energy's theme was, because to be quite honest, I never really listened to it.
Bobby Heenan the other talking. Wrestlers. Hey, who is this guy, Narcissus? What do you know about him? Is he truly beyond perfect? Is it possible for anyone to have those qualities superior to mine? Well, let me answer your questions, Mr. Perfect. Comparing you to Narcissus would be like comparing ice cream to horse manure. I know horse manure has its place in this world, even perfect horse manure. But perfect, there is only room in this world for one human being that is truly anatomically perfect, that is physically and mentally superior beyond imagination.
You wearing a pink shirt.
Ric Flair and I both agree that Michelangelo could not capture on canvas the stupendous qualities of Narcissus. He could not sculpt from marble the metamorphic qualities of Narcissus.
Look at
why Narcissus is so beyond perfect, it's like he's from another galaxy. So, Mr. Perfect, when you see me unveil Narcissus at the Royal Rumble, you are going to think, if you can, that Narcissus is from another world.
What an excellent promo. I wish I got to see that as a little kid, man. God, I wish I would have got to see this as a little kid. That was excellent. Hey, it's Rick and Scott Steiner. You know, in their short WWF run, the crowd loves them. And they're going to beat up two job guys, so this ought to be fun. Hopefully somebody gets dumped on their head. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Rick or Scott. I can pretty much bet money on that one. Top Dog says, man, I miss the colorful stuff in wrestling. People find it goofy, but I like it ever since the Attitude Era. Most wrestlers want to dress and wear black and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, that's when, you know, sometimes these guys start taking themselves a little too seriously. It kind of looped around where a lot of the content was silly, but it was still taking itself too seriously, where it's all black boots, black trunks, but it was still people doing silly stuff on top of it, you know. Oh, whoo, that Tilt-A-Whirl backbreaker is badass. Look at Scotty, young Scotty. Was Rick Martel with the company at this time? No, he was not. He was in WCW at the time. He was already gone. I think he left in 91, I want to say. It's Doink. You know, Doink is out there. He's messing with the wrong guy. Was Hulk Hogan on Raw in 93? He's in a later episode of Monday Night Raw. He wasn't in the first ep or the second, I think. I think he popped up in I know Brett didn't show up for like 10 episodes. Because Raw wasn't the main show yet. I think Superstar still was the main show. God damn. Did you see Rick Steiner? Rick Steiner gave this guy an Irish whip, but he pushed him so hard the guy just collapsed. The guy's legs just said, fuck it, I don't want to go no more. I don't want to do this. Look at it. He's manhandling this fucking guy. I don't know or care who these guys are. I have no interest in Googling who they are. I don't care. It's the executioners. Who cares? They're beating their asses, man. This is fucking cool. The Hogan era ended when he lost to Yokozuna, which was in '93. What was this? I think it was August of '93. Oh, what a hell of a body slam from Ricky. I can't believe y'all never seen Scott. You never seen Scott Steiner with the mullet? He had a mullet for so goddamn long. But I guess he did cut his hair when he around the time most people would have been watching. And overhead belly to belly. Man, look at how the crowd is standing. They are 100%. Nobody needs to do anything extra. They just mauling these fucking guys, man. Look at this shit. This shit rules, bro. Like, if I didn't already think the Steiners were great, this would tell me that the Steiners were two of the most unstoppable, unbeatable, unfuckwittable human beings ever born. And they're about to do their finish. And this guy's struggling to keep his mask on without dying. The top rope bulldog, and that is it. Steiner brothers win. Excellent. Flawless victory. No 50-50. No making the other guy look good. No. They went out there and just beat the shit out of these guys. Crushed them completely. Got over and got the fuck out of there. That's what I'm talking about. That was excellent. That was fantastic. That's probably one of the best matches I've seen all week. That's legit. I have more fun watching that than all the idiots jumping off ladders and shit. Oh, here's Bobby Heenan again. He's back.
What seems to be the problem here? Wait, your nephew?
I'm supposed to see him, yes.
You're Rob Bartlett's.
Yes, I'm his aunt. He's my nephew. He's my, yes.
How do they get Heenan to do the cross dressing?
Straighten this all out. We could probably go into.
He's wearing lipstick and everything. That's ridiculous.
Wait a minute. Bobby Heenan. I thought I'd seen everything here in the World Wrestling Federation, but the brain in drag.
I gotta get there.
Bobby Heenan wants to be on Raw so badly. Like, God, it makes you really wish you had gone. Like, Bobby Heenan, it's so exclusive, Bobby Heenan can't get in. Okay. Oh, here's Razor Ramon. He's going to talk. Razor, look at that shirt. Look how busy that shirt is. That's a busy shirt he's got on, man. Jesus. Look at the colors on the thing. Oh, Scott Hall. Uh-oh. Trying to avoid copyright strikes. Are they going to continue to play his music? Or
headed to the Royal Rumble. This is the golden opportunity you've been waiting for. Meeting the Hitman Bret Hart for the WWF Championship. Are you ready?
Vince is wearing a bow tie.
Look at me, man. I was born ready, Chico. And when you say golden opportunity, that's got Razor Ramon written all over.
I see, but nonetheless, you certainly will recall that it took the Hitman Bret Hart 8.5 long years climbing the ladder of success to gain the momentum he has. And you're sort of a Johnny-come-lately, if you pardon the expression.
And look, Hitman, 8.5 years, Chico. You climb to the very, very top. You're the main man in the WWF. Now say hello to Razor Ramon. 8.5 months, and I caught you. I am numero uno.
All right, you're the
number.
He won a 3-finger ring, though.
Yes, indeed.
He won a 3-finger ring.
And if you're the
That
number
shit
one contender and
badass.
such a great competitor, why did you do to Owen Hart what you did? Why jump him? Well, come on.
Hey, Silencio.
Silencio.
Obviously, your father was a big influence on you and on Bret.
Your Hitman.
Oh, that was awesome. I forgot about this. I forgot he jumped Owen in the lead up to that Rumble match.
Like a
Title match.
That was fun, man. And you know what else?
He hit him with a garbage
There's
can.
nothing you
He hit him one time on a garbage can.
Not Chico, that you don't want to do nothing about it, because you can't do nothing.
Thank you very much for joining us.
And Hitman, you know what else you can't do nothing about? Chico, you can't do nothing about Razor Ramon taking your precious gold at the Royal Rumble.
It'll head your way, ladies and gentlemen, in less than 2 weeks, Sunday afternoon.
Everything about that was excellent. Vince is still holding the microphone, which is a Cornette pet peeve about, the guy being pushed aside. So Vince is still there. He's asking challenging questions to the heel. The heel is ignoring him. There's no banter between Vince and Razor Ramon. It's Razor talking to Bret Hart. He's talking directly to the camera. He's talking to Bret. And he basically says Bret ain't going to do shit. I beat up his little brother. What he going to do? He ain't going to do nothing. You ain't going to do nothing, bruh. I'm going to beat you and take your title. It took me 8 months to get here. It took you 8 years. I'm better than you. I beat up your little brother. You ain't going to do nothing about it. I'm taking the title. End of story. I'm cool and I'm rich. And that's it. And now Tatanka's talking about warrior spirits. See, look, we've gone from Razor Ramon with the 4-finger rings and the big gold ropes to now Tatanka yeeting, yodeling, or whatever the fuck he used to do, war crying, and talking about the great spirits. We're doing a thing here. This is something. Who the fuck is this? Is this Max Moon? Because he's shooting out all kinds of stuff. Oh, yes, this is Max Moon. Excuse me. Top Dog, is this your favorite era of wrestling? Despite the fact of how cartoonish and weird it is, yes. I love this shit. Because it's simple. Like, it has all the trappings of a traditional pro wrestling promotion. They're wearing tuxedos. They look very professional. The bow ties and the tuxedos. Everything seems to be orderly. They even have a commissioner and people who deal with all the rowdy stuff that the heels do. All that stuff is perfect. But then you also have Max Moon. And you have all of these cartoons. No, Top Dog, there was no Saturday Night's Main Event during this era, I don't think. They kill me taking Saturday Night's Main Event off air sometimes. But this is Max Moon, who I think is Conan. Versus Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental Championship on Monday Night Raw, and they're making sure to show the girls, as Shawn takes off his clothes. TN Pyro, this was before the Bret Owen feud. It is approximately about a full year before Owen turned heel. Owen would turn heel in January of '94 against Bret, so this is a full year before that. Shawn arm dragged Max Moon, and they, took some time to actually sell that. Appreciate it. Look at the go behinds. Look at how Shawn sells the go behind. And then he throws a cheap elbow. Oh, goodness. It looked like somebody screwed up something here. Top Dog wonders why WWE never brought back the Raw girls. Well, I think Vince probably just didn't want the extra expenses, but he can't really do it now, Yeah, I think it would have been a nice little thing to do at the Attitude Era to bring back the Raw girls. But, Raw is a thing that evolves over time. Max Moon doing the babyface shine. He got the power slam or body slam Shawn. Shawn cowers in the corner. The referee looks very professional. Referee's not in the way. Referee's not trying to get any attention. He's wearing solid colors. No stripes. Just straight blue shirt. These guys are actually trying to wrestle and stuff by, doing moves like leapfrogs, for Christ's sake. Look at that, how he snatched him out of the air with that arm bar. Conan is out of breath. Come on, Conan. That is Conan, right? Conan was Max Moon. If I remember. I can't Google it right now. Oh God. I hope he wasn't like, because I get like Max Moon and Avatar and all that kind of stuff. Because there were so many terrible mask gimmicks around the time. I get all of them mixed up, but I think Conan was Max Moon. I think he was. Somebody Google it for me, please. Whoever this guy is, he's clearly winded from doing all the running. Yeah, it's Conan. Okay. Imagine some of the NXT baddies and some of the Maxine Dupri as a modern day Raw girls. Like, yeah, that would be nice. I think you should have women in strategically utilized in on the show. Like, I wouldn't put them in dancing cages like TNA did. Like, that was too far. But kind of how UFC has like ring card girls. Yeah, absolutely. Who said they can't be ring card girls, female announcers, female microphone holders, and wrestlers? You can, there should be people doing it all. Like, show the gamut, run the gamut, do it all. The crazy thing is, I think, maybe a short time before this, Conan was ripped. I'm talking super muscular. Vince never would have put a bodysuit on that guy if you saw how Conan looked just maybe a year or two before this. But this is also during the steroid scandal, so he's covering up Conan's body. And Doink is still outside the ring being annoying. And he's wearing a sling on his arm. This is January, by the way. And he's already sort of teasing the angle that's going to pop at WrestleMania. So he's walking around with that arm in a sling. Could you imagine if somebody walked around with their arm in a sling for 3 months today? They'd be like, what's going on? Has he got a cyborg arm in there? What's going on? Like, come on, relax. Let the story play out. That might have been the first real punch of the match, I think, that Shawn just threw. See how nobody is distracted by Doink and his nonsense outside the ring? Doink has been outside the ring all this time, and nobody has paid him any attention. He's just ignoring the fucking guy out there. It says one of the only times I see Shawn in jobber matches. Yeah, Shawn didn't really get a lot of jobber matches at the time. He was mostly in competitive matches. It was Paul Diamond. Paul Diamond? That's who Max Moon is? Max Moon is Paul Diamond? Who was Paul Diamond? Because I know there was quite a few. I think because Avatar was Al Snow. I know that one for sure. Because Al Snow had like some kind of martial arts background, and so when he came to WWF, they gave him like the Avatar gimmick, so he was doing like martial arts and shit. But Conan, I keep forgetting which one it was. I'm thinking that he was Max Moon, but it could have been somebody else. I don't know these things for sure. I'm not a read the dirt sheet kind of guy. I don't care about the dirt sheets and what all the secrets and insider crap about who was under the mask. I don't give a shit. This match is not about who's under the mask. This match is about Shawn Michaels versus Max Moon. And Max Moon was trying to be competitive, but now he's in a chin lock. He's clearly winded. So whoever this guy is, he's fucking winded. He's tired. Shawn is all right, though. See how Shawn is taking the crowd out of it? That's what the chin lock is supposed to do. Oh, Conan, then Paul Diamond. Okay. So they changed the person under they changed the person under the hood. Okay, I get it. The crazy thing is I didn't even know that. That's wild. I had no idea there was two different Max Moons. No wonder I'm always confused. J. William Reed, you're doing the Raw where Ric Flair had his last WWF appearance until 2001. I think that's the next Raw, isn't it? That's the second episode of Raw, I believe. With the perfect Flair match. I think that was one of the first 5. It's not this match. It's not this show. But I think it might be the next one or the one after that. Where Flair and Perfect finally have their big blow off from it's right after it's not after the Rumble. Okay, yeah. So I figured it was at some point in January of '93. Do you think Shawn Michaels was better pre-DX or post-DX? Well, it depends on what you're looking for. I like the New Generation era Shawn personally. You know, when he had, I personally, my favorite era of Shawn is Shawn with Sherry. You know, like you that was a combination. You couldn't beat that with a stick. They were great. They were fantastic. Shawn with Sherry was excellent. But he wasn't a main event guy. Clearly, he was an upper mid card guy. Shawn just did the super kick, and it's not his finish. This is his finish, the quote unquote teardrop suplex that Max Moon, job guy, counters, and then ended up getting caught in it anyway and pinned. Why Shawn Michaels had a suplex finish, I have no idea. Who idea was that? Whoever decided they were going to switch it was a genius, because that suplex is not going to work. Conan only did the gimmick in '92 and got fired because he missed tapings. Well, he's probably on drugs. He is Conan after all. So that means this was Paul Diamond, because this was in '93. Wonder if Tony Khan stole some ideas from this first Monday Night Raw. Well, he should have. But you see how WWF is constantly in-house producing, like not in-house producing, but in-house advertising. Like this Mania show, I don't even remember this show existing. Like literally, WWF has had so many shows, I don't even remember them existing. You know, I got legit don't know what the fuck would even be on Mania, and I don't even think it's on the network yet. You know. Like I wanted to go back and watch at least 1 or 2 episodes of Action Zone. I don't know if that shit is even up yet. Did you hear Paul London saying he would only do a Royal Rumble return for $1 million? Look, Paul London he's not worth a bucket of chicken. Who the fuck cares about Paul London? He's been saying stupid shit for years because he's upset because he got fired for breaking character. And you know, fans keep asking him to come back. So he wants to set the price to the point where if you guys pay me X, Y, and Z, I'll come back. It's like nobody from WWE is asking you to come back. Nobody gives a fuck about you. You're not doing anything anywhere. It's not like Paul London is setting the world on fire. You know, like the last time you saw Paul London, what was he doing? You know, he's wearing a top hat on Lucha Underground.
Of an Intercontinental title shot, they knew Marty Jannetty. But being Mr. Cool, I'm going to give you one anyway. And everybody wants to know, where's Sherry going to be? Whose corner is she going to be in? Well, I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk to her. But like any woman, she's going to be in the Heartbreak Kid's corner. You can count on that. Jannetty, Royal Rumble, you're done.
January 24th, the Royal Rumble. I'm going to call it Marty Jannetty Day, because that's the day I'm going to get everything I want. I'm going to capture the Intercontinental Championship. And more than that, I'm going to end the career of you, Shawn Michaels. And you're talking about Sherry being in your corner. You know all about Sherry. Well, maybe you don't know Sherry as well as you think you do.
Remember. Jannetty, you're done. You're finished, Jannetty. The Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, that feud produced some excellent matches. It was a fantastic story. Excellent matches. The feud lasted for like 2 years, I think. I think it lasted 2 years because I think they broke up in early or mid '91. Because I think Royal Rumble '91, Shawn was a heel. No, he was a heel on Royal Rumble '92 for sure. So that means they broke up before Royal Rumble '92 because he got booed out of the building.
Got a place because the Royal Rumble is here. An opportunity for Mr. Perfect, a guy who has no problems with anything because everything in my life is perfect. and all the great athletes that enter the Royal Rumble, no matter how big and how strong and how powerful and how smart you are. One thing you're not, and that's perfect.
Marty attacked a cop in 92, 86 in the WrestleMania 8 match. Holy shit. That's what happened? Well, I don't think Marty's getting the belt back anyway, so I wasn't too worried about that. But Shawn and Marty at WrestleMania would have been so much fun. It would have fit, too. Would have fit perfectly.
In Royal Rumble, no one can move my Yokozuna. No
Yokozuna
one can lift him up off his feet. Yokozuna, 505 pounds, will be the winner in the Royal Rumble. And all 29 opponents will fall out one by one. Yokozuna is the winner.
Oh, that's excellent. Yokozuna. It's terrible. He cannot cut a promo for shit. But he fits. Yokozuna's supposed to be Japanese. Why wouldn't he have a Japanese manager? Oh, Carlos Colon. Oh, my God. What the hell? Oh, Lord. Tenryu. That wasn't Tenryu. Who was that guy? Is John Morrison the modern day Marty Jannetty? I don't know. I don't think so. Hey, it's Rikishi. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They got all the luminaries in this joint.
Rumble time. Hacksaw Jim Duggan's kind of match. Because if it moves, you nail it. No friend, all foes out there. I want to tell you folks one thing. I'm not going to guarantee I win the match, but I guarantee I'll give you 110%. Tough guy.
I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to win. I'm going to guarantee to give you 110%. Tough guy. This guy. What the fuck? What kind of promo is that? He was under house arrest at the time. Then after the Rumble match, Michaels got Jannetty fired for allegedly being drunk at their match. Wow. Considering Shawn was probably popping pills at the time, that's kind of fucked up, Shawn. But Marty was fucked up regularly around that time too. Jake wanted a job in creative, if I remember correctly. I think that was his story. He wanted a gig in creative, but he didn't get it. So then he decided he was going to quit. But he refused to do the job for Undertaker until they let him go. Man, Jake fucked that up. He fucked that one up big. And here's Bobby Heenan again. He's dressed as a Jew.
I just want to ask you a question. Are you getting your tickets for next week? Get in line?
Yes, I got to get inside there. I got to see.
What's the problem?
I got to see my nephew. His name is Ron Bartlett.
You have a relation.
Yes, I'm Uncle Morty Feldman. He needs me inside. I got to go now.
I ran into your wife earlier. Wait a minute.
I've got to go inside. I have to. He's got the tickets for me for the night for the Raw on discount. He's got the discount. He's a good bagel. He's a good boy.
Wait a minute. Uncle Morty, you seem to be having a little problem here with your beard. Bobby Heenan.
Okay, you know. I got to get inside. I'll go to anyways. I got to get inside. I got to get in there.
The great thing about Bobby Heenan is that when he eventually left, they replaced him with Jerry the King Lawler, who played the exact same character as Bobby Heenan. You know, except for he already had a gimmick. So they just basically gimmicked him up to be as much as Bobby Heenan as they possibly could. Yes, Bobby Heenan was excellent. He's all over this show. Like he's been on this show 4 times already. You know, he's been on this show 4 times already. It's not like the old days where you see a guy once and you never see him again. Or what, like current day rather. I agree with TN Pyro. You should never show all 30 members of the Rumble. It's a mistake. But this is back then where the Rumble itself wasn't really. It had been around for a while, but they hadn't turned it into what it became yet. You know, the Rumble didn't become all about open challenges. Like they still had some, you know, Carlos Colon is technically a surprise. He wasn't like a regular guy on the roster back then. So they basically was just filling spots and saying, hey, trying to, you know, get as many people as they could to buy this goddamn show. Because this is during one of the down periods. But telling who's everybody's going to be in the match doesn't make sense. I agree with that. But I think they did do it in recent years. They said they showed like all 30 people who's going to be in the Rumble. It was the dumbest thing in the world. Killing the surprise factor for the Royal Rumble is the death knell for the show. Oh, Kamala is being bullied by Kim Chi. And then Slick has to come in and save him. Of course, Slick has to save him. The preacher has to come in. The missionary has to come in and save your savage soul. I never understood why Kim Chi was wearing a mask. And his mask has a hat on it. Never understood that. But it's actually in some ways kind of great. But I don't understand. It's so gimmicky. He's wearing a mask with a hat on it. Like it's so over the top. Kamala as a babyface and it would never work either. You know, that was never gonna that wasn't gonna work at all. Since Michaels was very angry, Jannetty didn't sell properly, I heard. If you see the match, you'll understand what he means. He's talking about the Royal Rumble match they had. They had really good matches though. I think the Royal Rumble match wasn't bad. It wasn't the best match they've had. They had better matches after that. But I don't know. Like, I guess the question would be what particular match we're talking about here, because they had matches after the Royal Rumble. So, but hey, here's Damian Demento, main event in the very first episode of Monday Night Raw. What is that thing he's wearing? Looks like a Venom symbiote around his shoulders. And the very first main eventer of Monday Night Raw is The Undertaker. And I fully expect him to be at Raw 30. If he's not, we're going to have some problems, Jack. Undertaker needs to be at Raw 30. I'm telling you, he needs to be there. Do I need him to tease a match? No. But I have a feeling that that's probably how in the way that they'll use him. They'll probably tease one more match, or the people will chant one more match. Yes. Oh yeah, Jannetty was selling the wrong arm. Yeah, that seems like something Shawn would get upset about too. That just feels like a Shawn Michaels. He don't like Marty Jannetty, or he thinks Marty's getting too much attention. How could I fuck with Marty? You know what? He was selling the wrong arms. He need to get out of here. He probably knew he was drunk too and didn't care. They were probably sharing liquor at that point. Explain to me the gimmick of Damian Demento and why this gimmick, requires you to shave 3/4 of your head and leave the back part of your hair still there. Why would your gimmick require you to look like that? Now, I'm guessing it's supposed to be like a rip on the missing link from World Class, but that's a mistake. It's a mistake. It looks like shit. This is old Undertaker, so he moves very methodically with spurts of activity. And the people really seem to like that version of Undertaker quite a bit. You can see how when he got up on the ropes, people started standing up. No back and forth match here. Damian Demento just getting that ass beat. He got a couple of shots in because you have to sell Undertaker's character. Now he's not going to sell punches. Just two freaks doing their thing. Undertaker's gonna most basic shit, choke in the corner, roll the eyes back. Great spot. They would evolve that, of course, later on to making sure the camera gets in his face, but they weren't there yet at this point. Damian Demento actually has offensive moves in this match, but he's not doing too much. We already know he's not going nowhere near winning. He was already in the ring when we came back from commercial or whatever the fuck we were doing. But they're putting over Undertaker by having Damian Demento knock him down or punch him or do whatever, and Undertaker essentially walk through it. So you can see that they're doing character stuff with Undertaker at this point. He botched the flying clothesline, by the way. Damian Demento was out of position. Here's the tombstone, and guess what? This match was all of like 6 minutes, maybe. Top Dog says, Mongo, what is your thoughts on the Raw intro in the mid-90s where they're on the roof? I liked it. I liked a lot of the old Raw stuff, man. Like, a lot of that stuff was really fun before it got super fucking serious out of nowhere, And it was too much hard rock music. Like, I enjoy the Woody Allen, Mia Farrow steel cage match. What is Vince doing? Anyway, I enjoyed a lot of the old stuff because you can see how campy it is, but you can also see how much people are enjoying it. You can see people enjoying this old crazy shit.
Hey, if they don't have a sense of humor, that's their problem. If I laugh, that's all that matters.
So you're not going to heed the warning of Crush then?
Let me tell you, if he came out here right now, he would be crying too, and I would be laughing.
Here comes Crush. Doing some bullshit.
I'd like for you to meet Crush. Pardon me, Crush.
Crush big for no reason. He's the most useless man in wrestling.
Put your size 14 shoe in your size 20 mouth.
He was the Big Show of his era. I fucking hate Crush.
This was just a warning, bro. If I get you touching anyone else, playing your stupid jokes that only you're laughing at on anyone else, bro, you just might be wearing a cast on both arms and both legs next time. You got that, brother?
Whoa. Listen to how he's talking. Oh no, Crush slipped like an absolute goof. He wearing yellow boots. You see, now, here's an interesting bit about this. Doink is being very, he's being very annoying. He's being very irritating. Crush didn't touch him. He came out there and said what he was going to do to him if he kept messing with people. Doink continued to do it. Crush chased him. Doink got away. So they didn't blow off any of Doink's heat by having him get beat up. They saved that. They let that happen. Okay, so before we go to the January 18th episode of Monday Night Raw, which we'll be talking about, we got to talk about the current events first. So we're going to do a couple of current events. Then we're going to do the second watch along. Hopefully you guys stick around for that. But I want to make sure we do eventually get to everything that we got to do here tonight. So let's say, what is it? It's been 52 minutes. 52 minutes and some change before we moved to the first story. Oh, let's go 53 minutes. 53:05. Okay. 53:05. We move to the next segment. So apparently Morgan Stanley, who was operating as the financial advisor to News Corporation, which I think is the parent company to Fox, they put out a financial statement that shows that WWE's SmackDown is actually a financial loser for Fox. So let's go into. I took some notes from the thing so I can be a little bit. So I'm not going to have to read anything. It's just going to be like a Cliff Notes version. So here's how it shakes out. Morgan Stanley says that Fox lost $85.4 million in the 2021 contract year. They lost $93.7 million in 2022. They expect Fox to lose $102 million in 2022-2023, and they expect Fox to lose $98.8 million in 2023-2024. So they expect Fox News to lose money every single year that they have WWE on the air. Now, the reason for this is because direct monetization through linear TV ads by themselves cannot cover the cost of the contract. So what Morgan Stanley is advising Fox is that your direct monetization is not enough. You have to find another way, a direct and indirect way of monetizing SmackDown in order to make it worth doing. So what they suggest is what's called a retransmission fee. And they said that retransmission fees are a significant revenue driver for Fox. So this is what they call indirect monetization. So they suggest that WWE content is then added to Tubi to elevate Tubi and to give Tubi some content. Then they said later in the advisory, they said that Fox is still interested in renewing SmackDown, but they have a lower ceiling than other bidders. So Fox may still want SmackDown, even though SmackDown loses money in direct viewership year after year. But they might be able to make that money back in retransmission fees, depending on how that works out and how that would shake out. But if here's their interesting thing. They say, well, quote, that Morgan Stanley believes WWE may take less money to stay on broadcast TV. In other words, to stay with Fox rather than going with the highest bidder. So they may go with greater reach over more money. So even if somebody, let's say Apple, comes in and offers them $2 million for SmackDown, while it's more money, sure, Apple does not have the reach that Fox does. So WWE might want to stay on broadcast TV in order to have that reach, rather than go up on a pay site somewhere. Now, retransmission fees, according to Morgan Stanley, heavily rely on people who are paid customers. So people who are paying to get on a service of some kind. And those things are subject to cord cutting, so there's no guarantee that the retransmission fees would even work. But I saw this and was instantaneously intrigued by it. That Morgan Stanley says, look, they're losing almost $100 million every year that they keep SmackDown on the air, but they still might want it. They won't be able to bid as high as other companies, but they still might want it. Now, clearly this was put together before Vince came along and stormed the Bastille and took over and made himself executive chairman and everything. I'm pretty sure this was put together at some point last year. All of this information was probably compiled at some point last year. Now Fox of course, has the opportunity to buy WWE if they wanted to. So, but it's all about an interesting story to look at. Is that SmackDown is not a moneymaker, despite the fact that it's a huge ratings draw, especially the biggest ratings draw in wrestling. It might not be enough. And I think it's basically they can't find the advertisers. So that's tough. I'm thinking that maybe wrestling is just very tough to monetize, which is something I've said before on this channel. That being said, as much as the certain fan bases, they say, well, they need to get rid of SmackDown because they're not making any money off of it. The same can be said for Amazon and Thursday Night Football. No, I had to play a little Nick Khan on this one because I saw the WWE thing first, and I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. I wonder what what they're suggesting, in terms, like, what is Fox thinking? Are they happy with SmackDown, even though it's losing $100 million pretty much every year? It's a relationship. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. Morgan Stanley noted that Peacock is actually losing $2.5 billion for NBC Universal. They're losing $2.5 billion. They expect them to lose $2.5 billion. Now, everybody in streaming is losing money. That just is what it is. It is an absolute crisis in when it comes to streaming services. Which takes us to Amazon and Thursday Night Football. So, and I saw this kind of, when somebody talked about this, I kind of understood why Fox might keep SmackDown. So Thursday Night Football missed expectations, their viewer expectations, by 25%. So Amazon had decided they have to, what's the word I'm looking for? They have to pay back their advertisers. So everybody who advertised on Thursday Night Football and they missed their mark, they're going to have to get some kind of refund. And people were, of course, like, this is an 11-year deal. This Thursday Night Football thing is 11 years. What the fuck are they going to do? They're going to give money back every year? But then it was explained that sometimes you take a L now to get a W later. So the idea is that Amazon just wanted to have the NFL on their site, on Amazon Prime or whatever it is they have. They just wanted, because Amazon Prime is actually where you deliver packages. What the fuck is their Amazon's streaming service called? Doesn't matter. In any event, they do business with the NFL so that they can have a relationship with the NFL so that they can get other things from the NFL. So the idea being that Fox may continue with SmackDown on the hopes of, and maybe they will buy WWE later, or they will be able to license out something else, or they'll get some kind of other programming out of WWE. That is always an option in the future. And I get that, but to think that SmackDown is losing $100 million a year is nuts. And I'm surprised this isn't a story that people are talking a lot about. A lot of it is inflation. Or Prime is the streaming platform. Okay, there we go. But I think inflation is not helping. I think people are not spending as much, as much as they should. But it's unfortunate. The advertisers are being gutted because people are not watching traditional TV in traditional ways. People are watching SmackDown, but they're watching it on apps. They're watching it on streaming services. They're watching it on their phone. You have what the Cena thing did, like a 2.6 million people, whatever, 2.7 million. That's sitting in front of your TV with your remote in your hand, watching SmackDown. That's all that they're counting. The straight up linear monetization. That's the problem. I bet you if they factored in all the people watching on streaming services, people watching on their phones, people watching through apps, people pirating the show because it's not on yet, or they don't have the network where it airs in their country or whatever the case may be, it might do so much better. But because there are so many ways of getting around utilizing linear TV, it probably is damaging Fox in the long term. I would imagine so, but that would be the same thing with cable, because cable is going through the exact same situation. It's not just the streaming services. It's also that people have a way around your streaming service. That's why Thursday Night Football sucks. They paid all this money and somebody's just going to stream the game on some other network so people can see it. They don't need to buy Amazon Prime. We'll mirror the game and stream it somewhere else. And now I get to watch the game for free. I mean, it is what it is. That's the nature of the beast. That's something that you have to deal with right now. And I think that a lot of people will see something like this, like they'll hear SmackDown is losing a lot of money for Fox. They'll hear that the NFL failed Amazon, and they'll get the wrong idea. It's like you have to understand how they were planning to monetize the product and how other people have found a way around that monetization of that product. You know, people have been watching SmackDown on tape delay with no commercials. People have been using VPNs to watch SmackDown from other places. There's all kinds of ways to escape the direct monetization process that Fox and WWE want. And surely somebody's smart enough to figure that part out. But it's broadcast TV. Are you really going to copyright strike an episode of SmackDown on TV? You know, a pay-per-view, that's one thing. But I don't think WWE really is dogged about their copyright when it comes to the pay-per-views and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I have Peacock. Maybe some of you guys who steal bootleg stuff, is WWE really territorial about the show like that? I remember seeing when I got, I don't want to say what I was doing, but I couldn't get to Dynamite immediately. So I put it on my phone and it did get copyright striked. I was watching it through a streaming platform. Sailing the High Seas, and it got copyright struck. And I was like, oh, what? Why would you copyright strike a TV show? But it's a paid product, They're looking to, get as much money, get as many eyeballs on the product as they possibly can. They want people to go to the TVs. And you can't make me, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not a robot. You cannot program me to sit in front of my TV at 8 o'clock from 8 to 10 o'clock. You just can't do it. I may sit there from 8 to 9:30, and then I got something else to do. I got a date. So I'm going to put it on my phone and do this, Sorry if that costs you $100 billion or, 100 million, not 100 billion. Sorry if that cost you, $20 million or whatever that I didn't watch the whole thing all the way through. But too bad. I got other shit to do. Too bad I couldn't sit and watch the random ass episode of SmackDown from August the 9th or whatever the fuck. I couldn't sit all the way through it. Sorry. I had stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you definitely have to take that into account, that there's going to be people who are going to look for ways around the monetization. But that's why Morgan Stanley is suggesting an indirect way of monetization too, in the retransmission fees. So that ought to be an interesting conversation because, like I said, this came out before Vince took over again, or at least the governing of WWE. So it's entirely likely that Vince knows this and is saying, you know what, this deal will be up soon. It may not get renewed, or we may have to take a significant pay cut that will damage sort of the brand of the organization. Because once SmackDown becomes a $1 billion brand, can it really go to being a $700 million brand? Can it go being a $500 million brand? You've already topped out at the $1 billion. Now people are going to be looking for 1.1. Now people are going to be looking for 1.5. And you're like, and Fox comes and says, look, maybe we give you guys 900 million this time and not $1 billion. It's backwards. It's still a lot of fucking money, but it's backwards. It's the wrong way. Maybe we overshot last time. Maybe we have to ask you to do a little bit more this time. That's why I'm surprised that, for USA and NXT and everything, they do all these special episodes and New Year's Evils and Halloween Havocs and stuff like that. I'm surprised Fox hasn't called and said, why aren't you doing that kind of shit on SmackDown? Why aren't you doing like a Great American Bash SmackDown, a Starrcade SmackDown or something like that? Sure, we're gonna have the occasional Roman Reigns match or John Cena or whatever, but why aren't we doing like branded shows? Why, Raw too? Like, why aren't we doing branded shows? Why aren't we doing like a Bad Blood Raw, a Cyber Monday Raw? Like, why aren't we doing that? And I think that would be a pretty good question to ask. Why aren't we doing big special episodes of Monday Night Raw? I mean, you want to cut back on pay-per-views. Now, again, I wonder what Peacock thinks about that. You're cutting back on the pay-per-views because you're slowing up they're already losing money, and now you're going to produce less content? That doesn't make sense. You know, like I didn't understand that from a business perspective. That whole we don't need a pay-per-view between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. I'm like, did you ask Peacock first? Did you talk to those people who want you to produce new content? That all of a sudden you don't need a December pay-per-view? It's not up to you at that point. They're paying $5 billion for you to produce content. You know, you need to go produce some fucking content for Peacock. Even if it's just a 2-hour program, because it's not a big pay-per-view and you want to throw everything at it, whatever. But you were running shows anyway. It wasn't like you gave the team the month off. Why would you not produce another content, produce more content for Peacock, your business partner, who's already losing money? I mean, that would make sense. Like they should be coming up with special events for Fox and NBC and all that kind of stuff. Their strength is that they are a content provider to these organizations. They should be trying to produce more content, even if that content isn't as successful as it should be. The thought counts. You know, if they came to Fox and say, "Hey, look, we're coming up short on this SmackDown thing. How about we do a free preview on TV?" You know, we replace SmackDown for a week with Starrcade. You give us 3 hours instead of 2, or you give us 2.5 hours instead of whatever, because you are bumping them a couple of times a year too for baseball games or whatever the fuck they're doing, and they get bumped to FS1 or whatever. So it's another little interesting thing that you could throw in there, because we are getting bumped a couple of times a year. Let us do something special every once in a while. Let us get a Saturday night, or Sunday night. Now, probably not a Sunday, because I think Fox Sunday is a pretty big deal, especially during the football season. Take a random Tuesday or whatever and do something big for one of these networks. I don't get it, but they know what they're doing. I take it that they know what they're doing. But yeah, that's what I'm saying about WG Phil. They should be doing super shows. They should be doing super shows pretty regularly. I'm not saying not every month, but if you're Fox, you should want a super show. Yes, Peacock gets the pay-per-views, but you should be getting super shows. You should be getting branded episodes of SmackDown that are akin to pay-per-views, that have at least 2 quality pay-per-view matches on it. Yes, you're going to put limited commercials or whatever the fuck you need to do in order to get the numbers. That's what they should be doing for Fox, at the very least, if not trying to get to produce another show for them. You want SmackDown to increase in value, not to be decreasing in value. You got it up to the billion. Do you really take 700 million? And then once this is out there, anybody could, I think some guy who's an MMA journalist found this whole Morgan Stanley thing. He found it because he follows the stock market. Other people are going to see this and they're going to say, WWE is missing projections on SmackDown. Maybe we'll bid for it, but we're not going to offer them $1 billion. We're going to offer them 700 million, 800 million, or whatever. It's a race to the bottom at that point, And maybe maybe this is one of the reasons why Vince has decided he's going to sell the company. Maybe he's looking at this kind of stuff and saying it's harder and harder to get people to sit still and watch this content in the way that the companies want you to. They want you to sit in your chair, put your remote down, and for 3 hours consume Raw without changing the channel on commercials, changing the channel, forgetting to come back, changing the channel, going to the bathroom. That's how they want you to. They want you to be a robot, and people are not robots. People, they stop for 15 to 20 minutes and they change the channel again. They stop for 5 or 10, they look, they move on. That's how, and people, say, hey, the kids want to watch TV. I'll go watch TV in my room. They'll throw SmackDown on their phone, or hell, the kids may want to watch SmackDown, and you're not even in the room. Who knows? But it's an interesting story for sure. AJ3, will you do the super shows monthly? I wouldn't do them monthly. I would do them quarterly. I would do them every 3 months. Part of the reason why I like the idea of Battle of the Belts is because of that. There's a Battle of the Belts every once in a while. It feels like a special event. But then they decided that in booking the show, that they were going to book it like absolute shit. And nobody was going to care about it. They killed it. But if WWE had hunkered down and decided we're going to do a 1-hour special, a Saturday night's main event style show, 3 matches, one big main event, 2 other matches that's just going to accompany that match. Maybe they'll be fun, whatever, have some kind of implications to them. But that's it. We'll do it on Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and from 8 to 9 or whatever the case may be, and we'll go ahead and knock this out. We'll do a live show, a live super show. And maybe the main events, Roman Reigns versus, Kevin Owens or whatever. But then on the undercard, you got, Ricochet and, Top Dollar and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. So I don't know why they're not thinking about that. Or maybe they consider that to be their trump card, that if all else fails, we could just do the super shows and that kind of stuff. But I would not do them monthly, because once you start doing them monthly, they become essentially doubled up to your pay-per-views, So, because the pay-per-views are already monthly, I would make them pay me to do a Super Bowl halftime show. And I think WWE should offer to do it. Because here's the thing, Super Bowl halftime shows they don't pay people for that. They don't pay people to do Super Bowl halftime shows. So what if they said, instead of paying or not paying some Jennifer Lopez, Janet Jackson, or whatever, that WWE will be producing a cinematic or even a live wrestling match in the middle of the fucking Super Bowl? That would be huge. Like halftime heat, that was fine. That was great. It was successful both times that they did it. If they could do it in conjunction with the NFL, that could be enormous, especially on NBC. That could be enormous, or ESPN or something like that. It don't even need to be the Super Bowl. It could be a playoff game. It could be a conference championship game. If you could do something where WWE is halftime, not regular season games, because that'd just be stupid at that point. But if you could get it to the point where they value the product, or get people, they trust you to keep people in the seats, that could work. It could really work. And I definitely think that, I don't see why we're not just throwing out, like, we can throw out, we're not in the business, we can throw out crazy shit. Like, let's do a cinematic match during the Super Bowl. And I'm like, yeah, but then I'm thinking, wait a minute, there are people in the building. Why not build a fucking ring in the middle of the fucking Super Bowl? Build a ring, put men in it, make it big, try to overshadow the Super Bowl. How about that? I'll put fucking Roman Reigns versus John Cena in the middle of the fucking Super Bowl. Let's try to get these people to sit in their seats. Let's get these people who are watching on TV to continue watching. You've already got a captured audience. People are there to watch the game. Let's say you don't want to do it big, like a Roman Reigns versus John Cena. You don't want to spend that kind of money because it's going to be probably for free and promotional. So you do something else. You go the halftime heat route, the second one, the NXT one, where you do like a big 6-man tag full of bunch of flippy dudes who this would really elevate them to be seen. But if people don't watch it, it's not too bad because it's not just stars. Put your New Day out there with Ricochet. Make a 10-man tag, maybe an old school Survivor Series match, 5-on-5, elimination style, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You use the women or whatever. There's a lot of different things you could do that could be great promotion. Or you could just, not have the ring at all, but have like wrestlers cut promos on each other at the Super Bowl or whatever. Like it could be some really fun crossover stuff that they could do. That would be fun and promotional. But you got to have the relationships. And I think WWE at one point before the pandemic did have the relationships. And that's also something that I don't think is really factored in here. How much damage did the pandemic do to linear television and to viewers and to people's viewing habits? People are probably going out and living their life a lot more now than they were during the pandemic. Before the pandemic, they'd burn a Friday watching SmackDown, but now they're like, fuck, everything used to be shut down. Even though we're 2 or 3 years out of it, people are still like, fuck, I'm getting out of here. I'm not sitting in this house all day. I don't know. That's something to look into. I talked about that for like 20 minutes, though. All right. So Barron's, which is a financial magazine, they claim that Tony and Shad Khan are, quote, in the pool to buy WWE, but they will likely need a financial partner in order to get it done. This has led a lot of wrestling fans to memeing Tony Khan into the Vince McMahon situation. They forget that Vince McMahon has to approve, and they're not going to approve to sell anything to the Khans. But this also could be, just putting on my tinfoil hat, that the Khans might be able to get, they already know the financials of WWE. They could just pull those because they have the reports. The conferences every 90 days or something like that. The quarterly reports. They already have those. So if Tony Khan wanted to look at WWE's books, all they really need to do is, pull up those reports. But there's probably some other things that they want to see. And I think that's what this is about. They'll claim they want to buy the company, but they really just want to look at the process and get inside information. They'll probably get hit with non-disclosures and all that kind of stuff anyway. But just putting it out there so that fans could get the idea, oh, Tony Khan can buy WWE. It got all people all jazzed up. They forgot how much they hated the idea of a monopoly. They hated it, a monopoly. You want there to only be one wrestling company? As far as AEW wouldn't be not buying WWE, it would be Tony Khan. Because him and his daddy, have the money. But they would have to sell an asset for sure, or take on a partner. Like the paper said. Do I think it'll happen? No. I don't think it. I don't even think this is serious, really. To me, it just seems like Tony Khan told a financial newspaper, hey, me and my dad might be looking into buying it. Hey, who knows? Who knows what it's going for? And then they decided to reprint it because it sounds cool. It makes Tony Khan sound cool because, he's that lame kid that likes to buy friends. Movies on me, guys. I'll take you all to the movies. Ice cream for everybody. Like, you can't buy friendship. You can't buy people liking you. Just can't do it. You suck. But it's a cool story because it's an interesting angle. But for me, it's like he's doing this stuff for clout. He knows how much attention WWE is getting right now, and he wants some of that on AEW. that AEW could possibly buy WWE. Isn't that fun, guys? It's like, get out of here. Nobody believes that shit, man. You know, nobody believes it. So I don't really buy too much into that. And plus, you know, the Khans do business with the Saudis. So they act like they don't, but they do. So, but so does everybody, by the way. You know, Amazon, Twitter, Uber, everybody does business with the Saudis. I didn't put this on the list, but the white liberal racism towards Saudi Arabia was out in full force when they thought that that the company had been sold to Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry, the Saudi Investment Fund, which some Saudi citizens said is not a government entity, despite the fact that Mohammed bin Salman, who is literally the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, is running the damn thing. It's a government program. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's a government program. But when they saw that those guys might buy WWE, all the white liberal racism came out. How they're goat fuckers and they're going to cut people's heads off and they're misogynists and all this stuff. And it came in waves. And I saw it in real time. People who like to lecture you on how you talk about women or how you talk about such and such were out here making the most ridiculous stereotypes about Muslims, making these credible stereotypes about the people of Saudi Arabia. My stance has always been the same. I don't want WWE doing business with the government of Saudi Arabia. But they have fans over there. So I don't care about them having shows in Saudi Arabia. I just don't like the idea that they have to go through the government to do it. You know, I just wish they didn't do that. You know, I just wish they did not have to go through the government. But literally, I think the government owns everything over there, so they don't have a choice. It's the same thing if they want to do business in China. It's like the government owns everything, runs everything, regulates everything. You don't have a choice. If you want to run business in China, you have to submit a good chunk of authority when you're operating in China. And I would imagine Saudi Arabia is the exact same way. It's not just the cultural changes. You know, that's just being respectful. You know, which liberals are supposed to be. So it is. So when it's catsuit season, when Saudi Slam or Saudi Mania is coming, it's catsuit season, baby. And I'm not mad at you. You can pay $5 billion. The girls are going to get a nice little paycheck. They just have to wear longer tights than usual. Come on. You're not being asked to wear a brown bag, you know? So that's something to consider. But I'm surprised. I'm not surprised at all that you know how racist it got, and I'm more surprised that people didn't call it out. But even though I did see some people, mostly it was people who are of Arab descent that noticed how some of their good white liberal friends flipped the moment they thought the Saudis owned WWE. It was all about how everybody's bloodthirsty and they hate women and all this kind of stuff. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Too much dip on your chip. AJ3 says, with all this turmoil, I guess you mean turmoil, going on in the WWE, it's amazing. Tony Khan didn't debut Mercedes Moné yesterday. That could have been the death blow. Death blow? Trust me, a wrestler going to another wrestling promotion is not going to kill WWE. I promise you. It never happened. It never will. Stone Cold Steve Austin being injured didn't kill WWE. The Rock going to Hollywood didn't kill it. John Cena going down with injuries didn't kill it. You know, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Roddy Piper essentially got booted out of the company. None of it killed it. You cannot kill WWE by removing one piece. That the only piece that really would concern me on the entire Jenga board is the removal of Vince. And Vince was gone for those couple of months. I wasn't too concerned about the company because I knew it was going to be all right. It's a company. You know, you can't really fuck that up, you know, in short time. Maybe in the long term it'll be fucked. But in the short term, it's not going to be that bad off. But he is the most important piece. He's been the mover and the shaker and the controlling vision and everything for 40 years. No individual wrestler can change things. Maybe if 5 or 6 wrestlers left at one time, that might matter, you know. But one wrestler leaving and coming and going somewhere else, I don't think so. You can forget it. I don't think anybody will give a shit about that. WG Phil says they hate the ruthless aggression era of how sexualized women are, but are mad at Saudi Arabia for putting them in a jumpsuit. Exactly. You know, they don't like the raw girls or the lesbians or anything. They don't like the empowered women like Trish Stratus. You know, they didn't like that. But they also think that it's wrong for Rhea Ripley to be forced to wear a catsuit. It's like, are you a monk or not? You know, are you a Puritan or not? You know, it's so you have to make up your mind. And they haven't made up their minds yet. They just want to bounce back and forth and, you know, be full of shit. And it doesn't matter. They just want to talk negatively about WWE. You're asking for consistency and they're not offering any. They don't care about that. All right. Let's do a third one. So Triple H and Stephanie were apparently opposed to the sale of WWE, which is why Stephanie stepped down and resigned. This is according to Axios, but I'm just tying two things together. Axios just said that Stephanie and Triple H opposed the sale of WWE. I understand why they would oppose the sale of WWE. They were freshly in their positions. They really were just getting started. They wanted to show what they could do. They fully believed in their vision, and people were excited about their vision. People were excited about Triple H's Monday Night Raw. They liked the idea of Stephanie being a co-CEO and there being a McMahon there. They liked this thing. Business was up. You know, they had been selling tickets. They had been selling merchandise. Everything was going well. It's not like Vince came in and saved everybody. You know, that's not what he did. Even though I say Vince McMahon is one of my top 5 favorite white people, maybe top 2 favorite white people. He didn't save anybody in this situation. You know, he didn't swoop in, and turned everything around. Things were going pretty smooth without him, and he just swooped in to, I'm here to support you. It's like, wait a minute, I don't need support. I'm here to support you. Let me support you. Kind of like when, you know, Tulsa King. You know, I don't see if you guys have seen it, but it's like when Dwight gets to Tulsa, he walks into a dispensary and he's like, yeah, I think you don't need some protection. You know, federal government, opposition, thugs, whatever. And Bodie is sitting there and he's like, wait, what are you talking about? The cops are not, this stuff is legal. The cops ain't coming in here. And what opposition? You know, they can start their own dispensary. There's nobody gonna, you know, attack me. And Dwight's like, I'm here to protect you. It's like, it's not a question. You know, like it's not a concern. It's not meant for you to respond. Right? I'm here to protect you. You need protection. And you're like, from what? And he's like, you don't get it. I'm here to protect you. If you don't know what I'm protecting you from, then, you know, you definitely need protection because you're not thinking. It's the same thing Vince is doing. He sent them that letter. I'm here to support you. And they're like, Vince, we don't need your support. We're good. And he's like, no. You don't understand. I'm here to support you. And they just looked at each other and was like, is this old motherfucker about to push a button of some kind? You know, like, what is he doing? And he's like, I'm supporting you. But you're firing people again? You're running people off the board again? He's like, I'm here to support you. I got your back, pal. You know, you two out of here. You out of here. I got your back, pal. You know, so you can count on me, pal. I love it. I'm not even gonna hold you up. That shit is great. The Vince acts like a mobster at least once a year. He reminds you that he is that guy. He is him. You know, it's insane, bro. Vince is definitely him. And I'm talking like him from the Powerpuff Girls. Like that's what the kind of him that he is. But of course, Stephanie and Triple H were against the sale. Why would they be for it? They just got in these positions. They just got power. Why the fuck would they turn around and sell the company? No. Vince did that because Vince wanted to quote unquote support them. That's why he's doing this. You know, they ain't shit they can do. What are they gonna do? They sent them a strongly worded email, and Vince bulldozed right through that motherfucker. Like, I'm coming to work. You know, like, you don't understand. I will be there at 7:45. It's like, but the meeting don't start till 9. I will be there at 7:45. I don't know what you're gonna be doing, but I'm gonna be running a motherfucking meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody better be there, or bad stuff is gonna start happening. And he got his way because everybody else is like, what do I do? Who's going to come up missing? You know, we don't just do whatever the fuck this guy says. You know, I don't know, man. What do you do in that situation? How do you handle this? How do you handle Vince McMahon basically saying, I'm coming back? And you're like, no. He's like, well. And you're like, we reject you. We don't want you back. And he's like, sounds like they want me back, pal. They want me back pretty bad. It's almost like Steve Urkel and the girl from Family Matters. I'm wearing them down, pal. I'm wearing them down. Yeah, sure. I bet you are. I bet you are. You know, you're going to keep harassing these people until they just say, fuck it, do whatever you want. That's essentially what happened. You know, it didn't take long. He started that shit on the 20th. By the 5th, he was back in the seat. And it's just like, and everybody else was like, oh, I'm out of here, man. But he got what he was looking for. I mean, to say that they oppose the sale is literally not saying anything at all. Because it's like, of course they oppose the sale. They don't want to sell the company. They probably want to keep the company in the hands of the family. But the hands of the family is Vince's fucking hands. That's the problem. It's like, we want a McMahon to own the company. It says McMahon, pal. You know, that is what it is. It says McMahon already. You know, McMahon right there. Vincent Kennedy right there. Like, I was hoping you could, you know, put a line through the Vincent Kennedy part and write Stephanie above it. Why would I do that? You know? Why would I do that? I know Declan was pretty happy about this whole thing. You know, Declan, he was pretty happy Pop was going back to work. That was great. I don't know. Now, here's the thing, AJ3, is we don't know if Vince did something wrong or not. Now, in my opinion, he didn't do anything wrong, because what you want him to do is to be a rubber stamp. You want to bring him some paperwork saying this is what we want to do in terms of selling the company or doing the TV rights or whatever the case may be. And he just sit there and go, and stamp it. And that's it. And that's not Vince. That's not what he does. You know, he wants to be on the ground floor, in the trenches, knowing who's doing what. Declan McMahon is Shane's son. So it's step by step. He wants to be a part of every step. You know, he wants to be in the muck and the mire. He doesn't want to miss this opportunity because it could be a big time opportunity. He's not going to miss it. And everybody else expects him to just go sit at home somewhere and let other people do whatever they want with his investment. It's like, no, he can't do that. He's not going to let that happen. And I'm sitting back wondering, who the fuck would? You've got billions of dollars tied up in WWE. and some people who, you know, collectively don't have a lot of institutional knowledge, not compared to you. You know, Riddick has been there for a while. Stephanie's been there. Khan, you trust all these people already because that's why you hired them. They have institutional knowledge. They understand what's going on. But they're not you. You know? They make these NBC guys or these Fox execs or these Disney execs or whoever they're talking to might get over on them. You know, they might get trapped up in all the Saudi shit. You don't know. They never had to deal directly with these people before. They've always had to go through you. You know? And now you're like, okay, it needs to continue to be that way. I don't see that as being a problem. But apparently there was a guy who did think that was a problem. And he filed a lawsuit against Vince. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Plus, I didn't write the whole thing down anyway. He has a couple of major issues. So the lawsuit was uploaded to Bloomberg Law. And it's basically about the abuses of authority and power and fiduciary duty by Vince McMahon. So, of course, it talks about him harassing women. I don't know why that's part of the lawsuit, but it is. His imposition on the board is an abuse of his authority. It says the Delaware General Corporate Law recognizes inviolability of the board's powers to make significant decisions respecting the affairs of the company. And it says, quote, the board has an unremitting obligation to discharge fiduciary duties. And that Vince impinged on the board's the board's core function. All of his actions that he came back with, such as replacing the members of the board, changing the bylaws to make it so they can't do anything without him, et cetera, et cetera. All these things should be voided and become invalid because Vince breached his fiduciary duties as controlling shareholder. Now, fiduciary duties, for people who don't understand, is basically the general financial best interest for your organization. So if you have a fiduciary duty to an organization, basically you're saying we need to put the organization's financial position above our individual position, which they're claiming Vince McMahon did not do and has not done. The question is, how do they intend to argue that? You know, if Vince McMahon says he's coming back to sell the company, he's by definition coming back to increase to find out what the value of the company is, and then to get shareholders maximum return. He's not coming in to sell the company for $1. So he's not, is it in the client's, or in this case, the company's best interest to be sold and make money for the shareholders, which he is one of them? You know, I don't understand. That's going to be a difficult argument to make. You know, again, I said it before, these guys are, this country is very, very, very sue happy. We are very litigious. Extremely litigious. It seems to me like this guy just doesn't like Vince, and he was quoting like Wrestle Observer newsletter and that kind of stuff in the lawsuit. I'm looking at this thing like, I don't know, man. He's probably just going to get a couple of bucks and get told to fuck off. That's what it feels like. You know, like all of these dudes are just going to be filing lawsuits. And it seems like these lawsuits, the primary reason is either a fishing expedition and discovery, or just give me some money and I'll go away. And that's what it feels like. You know, but this guy actually does want some kind of real recompense because he wants the bylaw changes taken away and he wants Vince kicked off the board again. Which, you know, entirely could happen. I don't know. It depends on how the court rules. You know, the court's going to sit back and listen to the evidence. But if Vince says it's not in my best interest to sell my shares of the company, which I would have to sell in order to sell the company, that's not in my particularly best financial interest. It's in the company's best financial interest or whatever, you know? And you would have to argue, I guess, in each case that they suggested that him imposing his will on the board was a breach of his fiduciary duties. It's like the company was doing okay, but the company's stock price jumped up substantially when he came back, mainly because he started talking about selling the company. So I don't know. It's an argument worth making, I guess. But to me, it just comes across like he's a smart wrestling fan who reads the dirt sheets and decided, hey, I can do this. I can file a lawsuit if I want to. And then he does. There's just people file lawsuits for anything in the United States, man. I'm telling you. But I'm not saying that the guy is wrong. I'm not saying he's wrong by any stretch of the imagination, though. If Vince legally can't do what he did, the guy has every right to get in there and say Vince can't do it, But we'll see if Vince can't do it or not, because then the Delaware state court will figure it out, or the district court, or however it's going to go. They'll figure it out. WG Phil says the IWC really harassing Vince's grandson who loves his granddad. Yeah, he had the audacity to cheer grandpa going back to work, and they've been on his head ever since. It's like, again, a person who knows him versus 100 people who don't know him. I don't know. And his own grandson, Again, you're thinking about the McMahon family. Most of these kids are probably not going to have to work too much. But who knows? They might have a genuine love for the company and might want to work there someday. You also don't know what Vince's plans are in terms of, selling the company. I always put out there, I know I kind of jokingly threw out there that he might sell it to the Saudis. But my real thoughts is that he's probably going to try to buy it himself. He's probably going to take on some type of financial partner. They're going to go 51-49 or something like that. He's going to try to buy the company and take it private. That's my idea of what Vince is going to do. And I'm sticking with that. Above Endeavor, above NBC Universal, I'm thinking Vince is going to sit in that office and say, I want my company back. Fuck all of you boards of directors. Fuck all of this stuff, all these middlemen. Let's just get rid of them all. I will run my company again. That's what I want to do. And I'm thinking if he gets the right, and this is where I think the Saudis come in. Because I think that if Vince McMahon goes to the Saudi investment fund and says WWE is worth approximately $8 million, I will put up 6. If you guys put up 4, or I'll put up 6, you guys put up 3 or whatever. You will get a piece of the company, and I will just sell it, buy it back from you eventually. To me, that seems like it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? To me, I don't see Vince working for somebody. I don't see that yet. Nope, I haven't gotten to the wrestling media yet. That's actually next after I talk about this. The idea that Vince is going to work for somebody else and have somebody else dangling over his head what he can and cannot do on the product that he created, on the platform that he created, does not sound like Vince McMahon to me. Him having to go through Comcast or NBC or Disney in order to create content and do what he wants to do, and then not have any authority in terms of wanting to pull Raw or SmackDown or whatever, that doesn't sound like Vince to me. What sounds like Vince McMahon to me, he goes to Mohammed bin Salman and says, how about you want to own a share of WWE? You want to own, let's say, 30%, 40% of WWE? Loan me X amount of dollars. I will come in with X amount of dollars, and we will buy WWE. The Saudi investment fund, Investment McMahon, will buy the WWE. I'll continue to run it. You guys would just make money off of it. And then in the future, at some point, we will buy the Saudis out. That sounds like an idea right out of the Vince McMahon playbook. And I think that's what he's trying to do. You know, that to me sounds like he got sent home. He got forced out of his seat because of all these fucking middlemen, all these snitches in the boards of directors, all these fucking weirdos who keep leaking stuff out to the Wall Street Journal and CNBC. These people who are constantly watching him, the SEC, and all these people always up his ass. He's probably like, fuck these people, man. He's been dealing with this shit since he was just 50-something. He probably getting forced out of the chair, having the conversation that maybe you need to go home. No, it's like the casino, right? Maybe you need to go home. You know, him getting sat down by Stephanie or whatever and being told enough's enough, it's over. That probably hurt his pride more than anything. He's like, fuck these people. I'll take it back. Round one was, I'm going to force myself back onto the board. Now we're going to see who's willing to buy the company. And how much are they willing to pay? So now once we know who's willing to buy and how much they're willing to pay, I know how much my bid needs to be. Because if Comcast shows up and says, we'll give you $8 million, and that's the highest one, I can then go to the Saudis and say, $8 million. That's what we need. I'll come up with 5, you come up with 3. We'll buy it. To me, that feels like what Vince would do. Unless he's really old and beat up and doesn't want to do this shit anymore, and he really just wants it out of his hands, really doesn't fuck with Stephanie and Shane, then he may sell it. But if it's the Vince McMahon that I know, he's certainly going to be getting to the bottom of all this other shit, the Rain Group and JP Morgan. All that's just smoke and mirrors. He's just doing what he needs to do in order to make it seem like he's really going to sell the company. Because again, he said at the end of it, there may not be a transaction. There may not even be a sale. They're just exploring the idea with their strategic alternatives. And the strategic alternative might be going back private. But the only way to do that is somebody's got to buy it. All right? Why not Vince? That's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that Vince can't buy it. You know? He didn't have the money. He's like, no, of course he doesn't have the cash. You know? All of his money is tied up in equity in WWE. You know? He would have to sell all of his shares, or at least most of his shares, in order to get the money. Who be willing to buy his shares? Did you say the Saudis? Entirely possible. Or maybe he's got some other friends out there. Maybe he's got friends at NBC Universal. Maybe he sells a piece of WWE to NBC Universal. Again, it doesn't have to be a whole thing. It could be a fractional sale. NBC could, buy 20 to 30% of what Vince McMahon wants for his shares. He takes that money, puts a down payment on the company. We don't know what his plan is. But I guarantee you he's got a fucking plan. He's had nothing but time. And I don't think he's come back to sit in a chair and watch everything crumble around him. I don't think so. Nah. This shit happening too fast, by the way. They already hiring JP Morgan and the Rain Group and everybody to do all the investigations and everything. This thing is moving. It's going to take a while, but they're moving this thing along. There's going to be some lawsuits. There's going to be some hurt feelings. There's going to be some people mad, but I think he's got a plan. He's not doing this shit willy-nilly. I personally thought when I first heard it, he probably already had somebody who wanted to buy it. Somebody probably called him on the phone and made an offer, you know. And now the rest of this stuff is formalities. You know, I think that there's some real shit going on. But I would not be surprised if at the end of this, Vince doesn't own WWE outright once again, without any middlemen. No board, nobody to tell him what to do, nobody, you know, going through all of his financials and through his personal effects and all that shit. He's just gonna cut them all out. To me, that seemed like the best course of action. If I was Vince McMahon, that's what I would do. For starters, I probably never would have gone public in the first place. But they made a lot of money being a public organization because people can see your books. You know, your words are backed with the threat of, you know, lawsuit and the threat of prison. You know, so you always have that. You know, Vince can't fight in the streets anymore. You know, he's gonna fight in that boardroom though. He's got an army of attorneys. Even though I think McDevitt is on his last legs, like he's an old dog too. And I think that he's supposed to be retiring soon before Vince gets, you know, body slammed with all these goddamn lawsuits. McDevitt wanted to retire too. He's pulling the Undertaker out here. He's like you know, McDevitt wanted to retire, and Vince was like, "We're not done, pal. It ain't over." They're filing lawsuits like out of cannons at Vince at this point. I'm telling you, there's at least 3 or 4 open lawsuits on WWE. That's before Vince even came back. You know, and most of them are class action lawsuits, by the way, for various different things. And then he's got 2 federal investigations going. There are 2 rape accusations pending that are likely to go to lawsuit. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Him doing all this stuff tells me he got a fucking plan. He's ignoring all that shit. He's leaving that shit to the attorneys. He's not arguing it, not fighting it, don't care about it. He wants his baby. This is what he cares about. He cares about the fucking company. And that tells me he's probably going to take that bitch back private. That way he can leave it to the family if he wants to. You know? And he probably doesn't even share with them what his plan is. He don't want them fucking it up. You know? Or he could fucking keel over in 2 weeks and, you know, we don't have to deal with none of this shit. So who knows? But I definitely think he got a plan. All right, so the last thing before we get to the second episode of Monday Night Raw to watch tonight is we need to talk about the wrestling media. The wrestling media showed their absolute ass on, what was that, Tuesday night? Where they started talking about Saudi Arabia. So it was Steven Muehlhausen and Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net. But for at least 45 minutes, every wrestling journalist from Brian Alvarez to John Alba to the Bodyslam.net guys to the Ringside News guys, everybody, the Fightful guys, everybody. Big news coming in. Oh my God, if this is true, it's a big deal. Oh, a game changer incoming. And they had people on pins and needles. Like, the fans are getting anxious. They're like, what's going on? Tell us what's going on. I can't tell you because I haven't verified any of this stuff yet, but I'm telling you it's big. They got people so frustrated. They got people so amped up. And then here comes a guy, Steven Muehlhausen. He's like, fuck it, I'll just say it. WWE's been sold to Saudi Arabia. And from there, somebody else, I heard the same thing. And then the rumor's out there. WWE's been sold to Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Investment Fund, I'm sorry. And people started believing it. It sounded like bullshit to me from the beginning. I was like, wait a minute, come on. I don't know about that. For starters, they just hired JP Morgan. Second, you don't sell a multi-billion-dollar company that fast. Third, I seriously doubt an unknown wrestling journalist would get that scoop. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't pass the smell test. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. You're going to need more people. I don't give a fuck what this guy said. He's a wrestling journalist too. I don't get it. I'm not buying it. And then the guy got destroyed because the next day, CNBC and a bunch of other sites who know more about this, Lightshed Partners or Lightshed Ventures, who pop up in the WWE conference calls every quarter, said, we're hearing it's not true. The guy immediately deletes his tweet. Immediately deletes the tweet. So now the shitstorm has started. These people have spent a good 12 hours being racist towards Muslims and the Saudis. You know, they're editing the SmackDown things, and we're getting Arab money. They're redoing Hulk Hogan as a Saudi. You know, say I'm a real Saudi man. You know, fights for the rights of only men or some shit. There's a lot of incredible jokes about, you know, Saudis being misogynistic and hating women and all this kind of stuff. Hours and hours and hours of this. Hours of this. Podcasters taking it, they dropping 2 to 3 hour live streams on this shit. And I'm just kind of like, what is going on? Why can't anybody sit back and say, shouldn't the Wall Street Journal be talking about this? Shouldn't CNBC be talking about this? This news dropped at like 10 o'clock at night. The fucking market is closed. Nobody who has any inside information is going to be tweeting about this right now. All right? It's just not going to happen this way. It doesn't work this way. How can you be in this business knowing that you're dealing with a corporation? How could you be doing this for so long and still get this shit so fucked up? So after all the damage, all the mockery, all of the racism, all of the misinformation, after all of that, it took a tweet from a guy who works for an investment firm who invests in WWE. And then it took for CNBC market researchers to go out there and dismiss it, for people to actually just start to sort of turn the other cheek. And then guess what? They still talk about it. Because in wrestling, once you put something out there, it's true forever. Some idiot put out there that Randy Savage fucked a 14 or whatever year old Stephanie McMahon. Even though it makes Randy Savage sound like a pedophile, even though it sounds awkward and stupid and was never in any way confirmed by anybody who would have been there and knew the parties involved, they believe it. It goes back to Dark Side of the Ring. When they had the fucking reporters who did the original story on Jimmy Snuka, did not mention at all that there was zero fucking evidence that linked Jimmy Snuka to that murder. That's why he had not gotten arrested all that years. Not because Vince showed up with a briefcase full of money. That's a more of a salacious story that people were interested in. The fucking story, I read it to you. I literally went and found it, read it. The coroner said there was no fucking evidence that Jimmy Snuka or anyone else killed that girl, even though it was clear she had blunt force trauma to the head. There was no hair, no blood, nothing that linked Jimmy Snuka to it. That's why he beat the case for 30 years. There are so many times where these people will openly fucking lie, or they will openly fucking mislead. They will lie by omission. They will change context. Whatever it takes in order to get a salacious story out of this. I'll give you another one. The Mandy Rose story. What was this, Tuesday afternoon? Mandy Rose sits down, talks about how grateful she is for WWE and for, you know, the company and everything the company did for her. And then she mentions that, you know, she can't get into too many details because there's a confidentiality agreement, yada, yada, yada. Wrestling media, confidentiality agreement. Mandy Rose can't talk about anything. It's like, wait a minute. And then this is wild. Mandy Rose went on TV and lied. She went on TV and said there was no full frontal nudity on her fan time page. Her titties is out on that joint. She's, again, on there rubbing herself, legs open. They're doing suggestive sexual positions. They're talking about only implied nudity. No, Mandy, your nipples are out. All right. They sat there, did not say anything about her lying. Instead, it was about confidentiality agreement. It's like, what? Clearly, if I saw the leaked materials, I know you saw them. You know that she was doing stuff on there that was way different than she was taking a bikini picture and then she got fired. No, you know that didn't happen. You're lying by omission. You could describe some of the things that she did. That's why I did it. Describe some of the things that she does on that site. I didn't steal the information and post it, but fuck, if I see it, I see it. I see why they fired her. It's not a surprise to me that they fired her for it. But you want to be on the side of the talent. Oh, poor Mandy. She got told to take that stuff down, and she did. Then why is she still producing it? I'm telling you, man, these wrestling media is so fucking awful. It's terrible. It is as bad as mainstream media. It is as bad. And the sad part is, unless you produce your own news, you have to rely on them. You know? And she was rating dick pics. Like, she was doing a lot of weird stuff on that page that she left out. She lied by omission. She knows why WWE fired her. She definitely knows. But she's not about to go on Tamron Hall and say that. Well, they was absolutely right to fire me. She's not going to do that. You know, it's like, come on, man. She was as diplomatic as possible. She didn't throw WWE under the bus, but she didn't really accept a lot of responsibility for her own actions. It was just kind of like, oh, well, you know, things happen. You know, shit happens. It was weird, man. It was weird stuff going on. And they let her get away with it. All these people who are so in the know, they're investigative journalists. They're digging down deep to get the truth, except for when the truth is fucking inconvenient. All that said, I want to say this, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably the only person that ever says this. I give Steven Muehlhausen 100% credit for being the only one with fucking balls to put his name on it. Everybody else was out there like, I'm hearing great news. It's going to be big story. Everybody, Alvarez, Alba, everybody. It's going to be a huge story going on. He was the only one who was like, if nobody ever says what the fuck we're talking about and just keeps talking around the issue, nobody will ever know whether it's true or not. Because everybody's being vague. How do I know what you're talking about the same thing I'm talking about? He put his name on it. He said, fuck it, I'm going to be the guy. I step out there. WWE is sold to the Saudis. Now he watches everybody act crazy. He don't know he about to get ether from orbit. He don't know that. He put it out there. He's like, fuck it. You know, am I the only one hearing this? And then everybody else like, yep, I'm hearing that too. And he feels good. Like, okay, it's not just me. And then the next morning, she gets his name fucking blown up. He's been getting killed for 2 days now. Because he was the only one who was willing to put his fucking name on it. The only one with fucking balls. Everybody else hid behind him. That's what I feel bad for. Because everybody was, I'm hearing the same thing. And then as soon as he started getting nuked, it became, well, you know who didn't talk about it? Sean Ross Sapp. He didn't talk about it. And I was like, what? What? How many people was trying to debunk the guy in real time? Nobody. I think it probably took about 4 hours before somebody started saying, you know, I'm not sure this is true. You know, like, it was out there for a while before somebody said, I'm not sure this is true. You know, and I think it might have been Sean Ross that might have been the first one to say, I'm not sure this is true. But they let the dude, it just left him out there. He was the only one man enough to put his name on it. And just said, fuck it. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. And to me, that's respectable. Because you were wrong. And now you know you were wrong. But you never would have known if you not had gone out there and said it. You have to go out there and say it first. And then you can be corrected. And that's why I say it's okay to be wrong. I tweeted this out. I let him get nuked for a little while. And then I put out there, it's okay to be wrong, man. Everybody's wrong. Everybody, especially when you're in the business of gossip, you say some shit that is untrue. Everybody gets it wrong sometimes. He was the only one willing to put his name on it. Everybody else, Russell Votes or whoever the fuck, came out later like, this is why we don't tweet out stuff. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you even in this business? Get out of this business. Get the fuck out of here. You're not adding anything. You're being defensive of your reputation. It's not about you. You're supposed to be supplying us with information. If it's information you were told and it ends up being wrong, just say, I was wrong. Sorry, I got some bad information from a bad source. Sorry. End of story. Take your slings and arrows because it is Twitter. People are going to do what they do. But you don't hide. There's a lot of people hiding. There's a lot of people who believed this stupid story and they're still out there believing this. Just people who already screamed and howled and did their 3-hour videos on it. And it's already out there. You can't take that shit back. You know? You were wrong. It was a waste of your time and energy to go through all that shit. But maybe you got the clicks and the views already. The money is already there in the account. It is what it is. I don't begrudge somebody for, you know, putting it out there and putting their name on it. You had people quoting a fucking Reddit user. They were quoting a Reddit, like, I knew it was a farce right there. I saw somebody post a Reddit user. I'm like, Reddit? Like, that shit would not be on Reddit first, trust me. Like, no, fuck no, it's not about to happen. And then there's people like, oh, WWE is not denying it. Like, what the fuck? He's a fucking wrestling journalist. They're not gonna just deny everything some fucking guy says. Guy said to another guy, he's an MMA journalist. Well, people said that the UFC sale was not going to happen until about an hour before it actually did happen. And I was like, okay, makes sense. An hour later, I was like, did it happen yet? You know, is WWE sold to the Saudis yet? Look, I get that you want to get everybody's worst fears out there to get how people feel. But the brouhaha that he started, it really wasn't his fault because it was built up by journalists who are more famous than him being scared to put it out there. They were scared to talk. They were scared. They were not scared to tell everybody they had this big scoop. I got the big scoop. I got the big story. Oh, they got people all anxious and excited. What is it? What is it? Tell me, please. But I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to keep it to myself. And he's like, okay, maybe I'm hearing the same thing, and threw it out there. And this is what happened to him. Poor fucking guy. Day 3 of his name getting ruined. Nobody will ever trust this fucking guy again. You know? And at least that's some accountability. But I'm willing to give the guy some credit. He might be the only motherfucker that learned something from this. He's going to learn to double and triple his sources before he jumps out the window again. And he's going to be the only one that's going to learn that lesson. Everybody else is just going to learn how to continue to hide, to continue not ever, telling the full truth. It's incredibly sad, but I understand it. I understand it. I feel bad for the guy because he didn't ask for this. He didn't ask to become, to get ripped on CNBC or whatever. He didn't ask for that. He just jumped in front of it. He jumped on the grenade. He should have let fucking Alvarez jump on the grenade. But Alvarez got too much reputation. He's not about to do that. Everybody else is out there playing footsie with this shit. He just jumped on it. Figure it is what it is. See, Milhausen was also wrong because he said that Mercedes Moné was going to be the partner of Saraya. He was also wrong about that. A lot of people were wrong about that. I was wrong about that. A lot of us thought she was going to be the mystery partner because a lot of us thought Tony Khan is clearly building up this mystery partner storyline to something that's actually going to be meaningful. Whooped. He wasn't. So we were all wrong. But for him to get it wrong so magnificently twice in 1 week, he's finished. He's a journalist for DAZN, by the way, that Milhausen guy. So I feel bad for him, but he did it to himself. He was the only man among them. I think right after Milhausen jumped out there, I think Cassidy Haynes of BodySlam.net jumped out there. But it was already out there for Milhausen. So it was just basically somebody confirming. Crazy thing is about the Cassidy Haynes joint is once it was out there, he starts trying to say the deal is done, but it's not finalized yet. It's like, what? Do you know what done and final? You don't say something is done, but it's not final. Can it be final without being done? I don't. Crazy thing is, when it was a Saudi citizen that called him out on that. Like, he's walking it back. He's like, I ain't walking back shit. And then when Milhausen is getting nuked, he quietly tucked his tail and just didn't mention it anymore. So, let him take the heat. Why don't you? Let's see. D-Mac says he put his name on it. He took the flames for it, but can't really do the vague tweeting and then hop on the wave when someone else steps on the ledge. Right. My pet peeve is when folks try to spice it up with vague tweets. At the same time, I get what the game is, and this is why I take stuff with a grain of salt. Take the L. That's more respectable. Another pet peeve is when people can't just admit they were wrong. Someone says he got the Mercedes to AEW wrong too. Yes, he did. He tweeted out several weeks ago that Mercedes is going to be the partner for Saraya. And he was wrong. He was wrong. A lot of people, again, it's not something that people weren't thinking. Everybody was thinking this. But it's getting both of those things wrong in the same week that makes him look like he absolutely has no earthly idea what the fuck he's doing. Like, he's in the wrong line of business. I don't. If you are DAZN, let's say, and you got a journalist that's just getting reamed. You know, this guy works for you. Do you fire this guy? How do you reprimand him? Double, triple your social? Like, DAZN's not a fucking, it's not the Wall Street Journal or anything like that anyway. It's a fucking streaming app. You know, like, they stream terrible boxing matches and stuff like that. Like, this not, ain't shit major. Do you fire that guy? He embarrassed the company for sure. You know? I don't know, man. But just admit that you were wrong. Or at least say, this is what I'm hearing. It's not necessarily true, but this is what I think. This is what everybody's talking about. Because I think a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the sale's happening," and people have their favorite idea of who to sell to, and the Saudis wasn't on anybody's list. everybody who's anybody. If the Saudis were mentioned, they were like, "Ugh," you know. There's a lot of people who are queasy about the Disney idea, but they'll at least say Disney got the money. You know, Disney works. See, NBC seems to be the front runner. You know, the Apple or the Amazon thing is one thing. People are kind of on the outside about that. Again, I'm fully in the Vince buys it himself camp, using money from somebody else. But nobody was in the Saudi camp. Almost everybody was universally like, the Saudis, no way. No way. I saw British YouTubers they started talking about Vince and his patriotism. Oh, Vince McMahon, he's such a patriot. You know, the 9/11 memorial and all, and then he go and sells the company to the people who did 9/11. And I looked at that shit and I'm like, man, that's crazy, bro. Like, that was a wild time right there. That was going on in the middle of the night. Saudi Arabia did 9/11. Vince is supposed to be a big patriot. I was like, bro, the Saudi investment fund is run by Mohammed bin Salman. That dude is in his 30s. All right. In 2001, he would have been probably a teenager. That's if I got his age correct, which should be about the mid 30s, 35, 36 or whatever. So he probably would have been about 13 or 14 years old. So either you believe in sins of the father, which it would probably be his dad's regime that did 9/11. So you believe in sins of the father should be visited upon the son, that he is somehow responsible for what his father did or what his father's regime did. I know that his regime doesn't do the nicest things of all time either, but he didn't have anything to do with 9/11. He was a fucking kid. All right, he had nothing to do with that. So if he's running this investment fund, he's got shit to do with 9/11. It's okay. You know, he was a fucking child at the time. Unless he's older than I think he is. You know, I don't want to fuck around with the guy's like 52 or something like that. And then he might have been 30 or some shit like that when it happened. But something tells me the guy's a young man. You know? When they showed all the clips of him in Saudi Arabia, and, you know, he talked about how he's modernizing the country. You know, he's the reason why women can drive, why there's women wrestling on the show. You know, he's loosening up some of the controls on the country. He's trying to. He can't change everything at once. That's another thing that, you know, is a big problem with people who are criticizing Saudi Arabia is, I'm willing to accept little bits of freedom better than, because you can't do it all at once. You have to understand, when you're dealing with countries like this, it's a culture that's been going on for a really, really, really long time. You can't change that shit overnight. You have to let some of those old hens die off. You know, his dad and all that generation, you know, with the, oh my God, women are driving. You got to let some of those dudes age on out. You know, because they'll cause major problems in your society if you let them. I studied the Iranian Revolution. One of the major things is when all the clerics and all of those guys started getting frustrated, all the older guys, because the young women were walking around on the beach in bikinis, drinking Coca-Cola, becoming Americanized. They were like, no, this sucks. And through propaganda and force, they forced Iran to be what it is today. You can't undo that in a generation or in a single generation. As far as I know, Mohammed bin Salman has not been in power that long. You know, not nearly long enough to change 100 years or whatever of history. He was 16, so he was about, okay, yeah, so he was still a kid. He's a teenager. Like I said, I was about right when with his age. So he's probably about 36 or 37 or something like that now. Because I was older than that when 9/11 happened. I was 21. Was I 21? No, that would have been 1995, 2005. I was about 16 or 17. Yeah. Because in 2000, I turned 16. 2001, I was 17. So yeah, I was a year older than him. You know? So, you know, he's a child. This is some bullshit, man. Like, you got to think about stuff. You know, I'm not going to hold a guy responsible for some shit his father did. He did enough bad shit on his own. You don't got to blame him for some shit he had nothing to do with. You know? He's probably trying to mac on some white hoes in New York or something like that when his dad decided to, or whoever decided to blow up them buildings. You know? And then it was 20 years ago. You know, the world changes. The world has changed a lot over time. You know? I'm not going to be mad at a society that is not like mine, that is slowly but surely changing to become more like mine. Because even though America isn't perfect, and in some cases it fucking sucks, it's just the basic freedoms that you enjoy. You need to take it, you know, don't take them for granted. Because there's a lot of people who don't have that shit the world over. In Africa and China and Saudi, in some places in the Middle East, some places in Russia, some places in South America, hell, some places in the United States. They're trying to take your fucking gas stoves now. Like, this is ridiculous. You know? Like, it's just flat out ridiculous. You need to take to heart that there are people out there in the world, in these regimes, in these societies, that are saying, maybe we could change things a little bit. Maybe it's going to be a little bit at a time. Maybe a little bit every 2 or 3 years, every 5 or 6 years. But these people who are utopians, they think you could just wave a magic wand and change everybody's mind. It's like if you was to just go into Saudi Arabia with a magic wand and say, Saudi Arabia is going to be just like the United States. It's going to be just like San Francisco. Whoosh. Okay, you could do that. And then immediately you're going to have people with hatchets in the street. Like, this is Satanism. All of these people are evil. They're devils. They're going to try to cut your fucking head off. Because the fundamentalists, they don't play this shit. You know, it's a completely different ballgame. So you have to change the society a little bit at a time. You know, and it's going to take a while. But it's not going to change to be like the United States completely anyway. Because they still want their own unique country and your own unique culture. They have a state religion as far as I know. The United States doesn't. So people getting too tight-assed about that whole Saudi Arabian investment fund thing. It's too much. You don't know. Everybody turns into the fucking Secretary of Defense every time it's a Saudi show popping up. Every single time. Oh, let's look up Mohammed bin Salman and what he did today. It's like, what the fuck? He stuck his hand outside of a window, captured a bird, and ate it whole. It's like, what? Come on, man. You don't know shit about Saudi Arabia. Just chill out, you know? Just chill. Watch the fucking show. Don't watch it, whatever. They're running around talking about how the wrestlers are scared. oh, poor Sami Zayn, he's gonna have to quit his job. Sami Zayn is sleeping soundly somewhere and probably getting text messages like, bro, you work for the Saudis, bro. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What fucking Saudis? It's the middle of the night, you know? Like, what kind of shit is y'all pulling? We sending emails to Becky Lynch or some shit. You know, it becomes prime opportunity to dunk on everybody. That quote Becky Lynch had about the AEW women, right? About how, you know, she wishes they were more represented and that kind of stuff. People started reposting that saying like, oh, this is going to age poorly when the Saudis get rid of the women's division. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. It's nutty. It's absolutely nutty. It's sad. It's really sad. And WG Phil has a good point. A lot of your favorite Japanese pro wrestlers growing up, like Antonio Inoki or something like that, probably had a father who fought in World War II, you know, and probably was an imperial Japanese raping the Chinese women. Pearl Harbor was the right thing to do. Like, it's when you start judging your parents and your grandparents and all of them in the same way, that shit don't come out right. It don't come out the way you want it to. That's why I don't play that reparations stuff. It's like we want to judge the pilgrims and shit. Like, everybody's stuff wasn't together back then. They don't think like you think. You know, they have far more desperate situations back then. Starvation, they were far closer to starving than you were. They're far more closer to being homeless than you are. You know, they couldn't, you know, talk to people through the computers, and there was no telephones. They didn't even have inside toiletries. They didn't have plumbing. They didn't have none of this shit. They did whatever they needed to do to survive, and they lived like savages sometimes. That's human nature. If you had to live like that, you probably would have been a savage too. You probably would have cracked open an Indian head or two yourself. You probably enslaved a nigga or two yourself. That's just being real. Human beings, we do stuff to survive. That's the strength and weakness of human beings. We are incredibly adaptive. We can adapt to any environment, any circumstance. That's what's called being institutionalized. You adapt to being in prison or in a hospital. You learn the rules. You learn how to work that system. Everybody does it. If you were in Nazi Germany, you could have been one too. You'd have learned how to work that system. Because you would have saw people get punished, you would have saw people get rewarded. And you would have said, I want rewards, I don't want punishments, so I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to run. One or the other. But you're not going to be a fucking superhero putting on the cape saving everybody. That's not going to happen. Because you're not doing it today. So you wouldn't do it then. I don't want to ramble too much about that. But it is what it is. You know? The guy was a kid during 9/11. You know? If he was 25 or something like that, I could see you maybe being like, oh. But 16, he was a child, man. They're throwing what was that Prince Charles fucking guy, man? World War II, he was in his 20s, maybe? Because he's old as hell now, isn't he? He's old as shit. They was talking about how many people Prince Harry shot in Afghanistan or something like that. It's like, well, it's tough, you know, being in wars. It's tough. It's not good, you know? Tough times. But I don't want to, you know, lambast the guy for something he wasn't a part of. He wasn't in the inner circle of doing that kind of stuff. He wasn't doing it. He didn't have nothing to do with 9/11. Unless he was a 16-year-old terrorist, which, you know, I don't know. I don't know how they operated back then. But I'm pretty sure if he wouldn't have been a terrorist then, he'd become what he is now. You know? And he's not like John fucking Locke or anything like that, but he's better than his old man. Better than some of the other old people. We remember the original fucking Super Showdown and Crown Jewel, where they were throwing stuff at the women. Completely different audience now. They give the women standing ovations. They clap for them and everything. Takes time. You know, you got to adapt. But I feel bad for Muehlhausen. But he'll be okay. He's a first world journalist who got it wrong. He'll be all right. All right. So this stream is already much longer than I wanted it to be. Much longer. But I intend to end this stream on a positive note. So what we're going to do is we're going to do episode 2 of Monday Night Raw, January the 18th, 1993. So if you guys are still watching the show, or if you've paused it and come back or whatever the case may be, 2 hours, 35 minutes, 30 seconds, we're going to start episode 2 of Monday Night Raw in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Even though my stream is slow because I turned I turned my joint off by mistake. All right. So Howard Finkel's in the middle of the ring, Manhattan City, New York City. Did they tape these episodes back to back? Rob Bartlett. Oh my God, I cannot believe. What was Vince thinking with this Rob Bartlett thing? And here he's about to tear this picture of Bobby the Brain Heenan. Oh, that's embarrassing. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Vince. Oh shit. The Repo Man just attacked Randy Savage out of nowhere. And he stole his hat. He's absconding with Macho Man's hat. Oh my God. What violence. Look at how the cameraman is like panning around like he's lost to try to add to the violence of the scene. So Kevin Dunn's been doing that gimmick for a long time. That whole it's not the shaky cam, not exactly, but it's moving that camera around to try to cause disorientation in the audience so that you will simulate the disorientation that the wrestler will be feeling. AJ3 says Rob Bartlett had no background in wrestling before he became a commentator in WWF, so it's not a surprise that he was a bad commentator. Well, we know that he had no background in it, but he was there to be funny. He wasn't even that. Like, he just wasn't funny. He sucked. Oh, hey, it's Terry Taylor, not the Red Rooster, but Terry Taylor. You know, terrific Terry Taylor. Oh my goodness. I didn't know he was called Terrific Terry Taylor. Oh. Are you truly terrific, Terry Taylor? I'm going to give you an opportunity to prove it. Who is your opponent? Because I know you're the job guy, but so who is your opponent? I wish I could play the music because I'm pretty sure there's somebody. Oh, it's Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect and Terry Taylor. In the territories, this would have been a main event. It would have been Kurt Hennig versus Terry Taylor in like Florida, something like that. It would have been big. So this should be fun. Terry Taylor's no bum. He doesn't have that much charisma, but he's not a bum. And Kurt Hennig is Kurt Hennig. So this ought to be fun. The crowd actually likes Mr. Perfect as a babyface more than I thought he would. I missed out on this whole Mr. Perfect babyface run. Like, I saw as a kid the babyface turn, but I wasn't watching Raw again, so I didn't see all this stuff. I just saw WrestleMania 9. That was it. And I was like, that's weird. He's a good guy. That's weird. You know, that's weird. I saw SummerSlam. I'm like, he's still a good guy. That's weird. You know, I never really got into the whole Mr. Perfect as a good guy thing. But especially when Bret's the champion, Perfect would have been the best opponent for Bret. You know, why they didn't go that route, I have no idea. having Hennig and Hitman as babyface at the same time, and then Randy Savage is also still there, and he's a babyface too. I don't know why. Why? Brett needs opponents. Terry Taylor's really good at being a heel. He's cowering really well. They're not doing anything though. They're just kind of setting the stage, showing that Terry Taylor is a cowardly chicken shit heel. He got jabbed in the face once or twice, and he just threw a nice little punch. Terry Taylor is better than people give him credit for sure. He's a work rate guy though. Oh shit. So Perfect landed a drop kick. Terry Taylor went over the top rope, and Hennig just chased him. Then the lights went out a little bit. The crowd loves this, and they're not doing that much of anything. They just like that Terry Taylor is trying to get away from him. I wish I could hear Macho Man's voice, but I don't want to. Matter of fact, let's turn it up.
All right, back to action now. Terry Taylor has been arrested on the outside.
As soon as I turned it up, Macho Man stopped talking. God damn. I know he's talking about Repo Man. I want to know if he's gonna say it like he's gonna do something terrible to him. The headlock on Hunger seems like something I should investigate. It just feels like there was more to it than just banners and shit. Like people talk about Ica Pro and all that kind of stuff all the time. Has anybody ever looked into Headlock for Hunger? How did that turn out? What is that? I know it was for like Africa. This was like during the We Are the World days. Everybody's trying to be a globalist. And we care so much about everybody else. And I'm pretty sure they do. But, it's interesting. Nice arm drag by Perfect. And overselling it by Terry Taylor. Rob Bartlett is the shits. I've seen this episode of Raw before, but it's been like 2 or 3 years. That's back when I first started the channel. I wanted to do reviews and watch-alongs and stuff, which is why I dabbled in them. But doing live watch-alongs is probably so much more fun. That was a nice hip toss. How old was Terry Taylor here? He couldn't have been that old because he doesn't look old. I know Hennig was in his 30s, so maybe Terry Taylor's around the same age. I know Terry Taylor was very young when he was in Florida and he was in World Class. He was pretty young, maybe early to mid 20s. So that would have been in the mid 80s, 85, 86. So it would have been what, early 30s here, mid 30s. Oh, that was interesting. He yanked his tights and pulled them forward. A unique way of breaking Perfect's momentum. They're not fighting outside the ring a lot. Terry Taylor just ran him against the ring post. He threw a punch or two. He's trying to get him counted out. That's what he wants. He's showing some pretty good intensity here, too. Oh, see? He threw his jaw against the metal ring post and then did a jawbreaker. And then kicked him in the face. Look at how simplistic this shit is. Nobody needs to do a fucking moonsault. All you gotta do is link all the things that they're doing together. And he hid the punch, the knuckles. Mid-card guys actually study their craft. And, I see why Terry Taylor was probably such an effective trainer. He has some charisma, but it's clearly he wasn't going to be a top guy on the national stage. You could look at him and tell that. I mean, you could just watch him work and tell he's not going to be a big guy on that stage. But you can see that he could have, I see Intercontinental Championship here. I see some potential here. For sure. Oh shit, I should have did. Something told me I should have wrote down the timestamps. And I didn't. I didn't do that. So now I gotta go back and find what. Here's my paper. All right. This match is longer than I thought it would be. I'm actually impressed with how long this match is. What was that? A gut wrench powerbomb? And he kicked out of that joint. That wasn't too bad. I don't know if that was his finisher. I technically don't think Terry Taylor had a finish. He working handing over here, baby. Let's see. 2 hours. 35 minutes. 30 seconds. Second app. So I definitely expect people to watch this episode in chunks and not all at one time. Okay, here come Perfect firing back up. Head to the turnbuckle. Terry Taylor was 38 here. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. 38. He don't look 38 here. He looks a little bit younger. Oh my goodness. But his movements, his body movements and everything remind me a lot of Ted DiBiase here. Oh, hey, there's Nate. What up, Nate? Nah, Flair's old as hell. He's officially old as hell. He got wrinkles on his wrinkles. Oh, he's beating the shit out of Mr. Perfect. He's beating the tar out of him. That was a great run in. He just came in, did his damage, and left. He didn't hang around at all. Oh, shit. Oh, that was excellent. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, that was great. What a great finish. Terry Taylor was hot dogging, taking too much time, and ended up getting caught in a perfect place. Of course, that meant Mr. Perfect had to sort of no-sell the Ric Flair's attacks, but they put some space in between the two of them. That's an ugly woman for a Raw girl. She's not cute. And she also looks like she got a dead raccoon or something like that on her head. Please do better than this. Oh, the Bret Hart IcoPro commercial. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Snap it to a Slim Jim. These ancient commercials, like watching old TV shows and old comic books and stuff like that, and seeing like old advertisements, it brings back a lot of nostalgia. Because I've seen 100 IcoPro commercials, and it's amazing how things just vanish. Like I don't know when we stop seeing them. It's one of those things where you're just watching this stuff and you're just not sure when shit ends. Bret's in the ring. He's about to talk.
Rumble against one Razor Ramon. We had an occasion to visit with Razor Ramon last week. Here on Monday Night Raw, he had some rather unkind things to say about you and your family, for that matter.
Well, it's one thing for Razor Ramon to say things about me. I can take it when somebody makes insults about me. I can handle that. But when somebody goes to the extent that he's got to jump my brother and kick him and beat him like a dog, I don't have very much respect for a person like that. And you know what even blows my mind more than anything is Razor Ramon actually talking about slapping my father.
Oh, no.
I would think just about all wrestlers would respect my father. He's going to be 78 years old.
Holy
I don't
shit.
care where you come from.
Stu was 78 in 1993?
Slapping a 78-year-old man. Not that my
my dad needs any help. Because you know something? Razor Ramon, to me, is the lowest scum in the World Wrestling Federation. He's at the very bottom of the barrel. As a matter of fact, he's not at the bottom of the barrel. You got to tilt the barrel up, and that's where you find scum like Razor Ramon.
Well, Hitman, one-on-one with Razor Ramon. Is this going to be your typical technical type of a matchup, do you think? Or are we likely to see somewhat different strategy from you?
Well, everybody knows that the excellence of execution is famous for one thing. Technically, I am the best. This belt right here, the World Wrestling Federation title, says that I am the best wrestler. But when I get to the Royal Rumble, I think I'm going to throw that rule book right out the window. And Razor Ramon, I'm going to kick you down on Conscious Street. I'm going to beat you from one end of the ring to the other. And let me make one thing perfectly clear. The Hart family name will redeem itself in the Royal Rumble. And you will find out why I am the World Wrestling Federation champion. Because I'm the toughest, meanest, and the best. Thank you very much, Hitman.
Oh, how about that? How about that? The Hitman's out here. And his hair is dry. Rare occurrence for a dry hair Hitman. I do like that jacket, though. My man wore pink and tassels and somehow was not in any way effeminate. Hey, it's Paul Bearer.
They have a choice. But in Somalia, too many people are dying.
What?
The World Wrestling Federation is putting a headlock on Hawkins.
No one starves to death. It all starts less than 2.
What? They had Undertaker and Paul Bearer do a headlock on Hunger at... If you were a poor, starving kid in Somalia, is that what you want, really? You want the dead guy saying, no one deserves to starve hunger. You're like, well, I'm stuck here, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate the sentiment, Mr. Zombie. Hey, it's Marty Jannetty. What does he want? What is he about to wrestle? A lot of tassels on this show so far. A lot more tassels than you'll see on a regular episode of wrestling these days. Oh, this is a Raw girl. Well, I couldn't get a good look at her. Marty Jannetty's wrestling a job guy. Okay, so Jannetty's going to win. Cool. A rare Jannetty victory. I would like to know this guy's name, though. Who is this fellow? Oh, boy. Oh, that punch was shit. He's back jumping, Marty Jannetty. Oh. Are we gonna get a name for this guy, or I don't know. Vince isn't too keen on naming the jobbers. He ain't too keen on announcing what their names are. Glenn Ruth, that's his name? Okay. Because I got my stuff on mute, so I don't know if they announce his name or not. Glenn Ruth has a bald spot. Come on, Glenn. Tighten up. Everybody's wearing so many colors, though. Like, everything looks like an abstract painting, on the tights. You know what I also like? I also like the neon New Generation logo. That bitch is bad. That felt like, things have changed. It's wild because that's what NXT feels like to me now, where everybody's wearing like so many colors and things are vibrant. That's like with this generation. Like Hogan and all those guys, it was a solid gold WWF. And then that was replaced with this neon thing. Like they still had the solid gold WWF, but the neon WWF logo. Wait a minute. I knew that name sounded familiar. This guy is Thrasher from the Headbangers. Wow. I knew this guy name sounded familiar. But I thought maybe he was just a job guy I had seen before. I didn't know this. Oh, man, maybe I need to start reading dirt sheets or something. Because this is fucking cool. That means the guy made his Raw debut, what was this, 4 years before he became one of the Headbangers? That's crazy, bro. Wow. I'm floored by this. To me, a lot of that stuff, now that you mention it, I'm looking at him now, and he, it was such a drastic change in his look. Like, I think he gained some weight. Clearly, he was wearing face paint. He also had, he got hair here. He doesn't have hair as Thrasher. But I see it, now that you mentioned it. I don't understand why this match is so long. Jannetty, hit him with the rocker dropper and call it a day. Please call it a day. Oh, wait a minute. Was he still using the rocker dropper, or had he broken that guy's neck yet? And I think that probably had a lot to do with Jannetty getting fired, too. It was him dropping that dude on his head. Even though I think that was before it. But Jannetty has been causing us a lot of problems. He's a problem child, that's for sure. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this match is still going on. I'm starting to grumble. This is how you know Jannetty's a work rate guy. This match going on forever. I do like Jannetty's punches, though. They look pretty good. And he throws them with some intensity. The referee didn't admonish him for throwing closed fists, though. So I guess. But they was being admonished for throwing closed fists in the first match. That inconsistency was a little something that wasn't worth paying attention to at the time, I guess. The crowd is less lively in this match, clearly, because this match is going on for too long, and the only person they know is Jannetty. So it was like, okay, can we, even though a Jannetty match should have a quicker pace due to, that being his gimmick, essentially. But I don't know how he could take, 8 minutes to beat Glenn fucking Ruth. He's going to beat Shawn Michaels. All right, there's the rocker dropper. Thank God. 1, 2, and 3. Ooh. People are happy. They're like, oh, it's glad it's over. So many Wayne's World looking like motherfuckers out here, too. Just a lot of weird looking people, man. New York, I don't know what happened to you. I don't know what happened to New York, man. They're really shilling the hell out of Royal Rumble, that's for sure. As they should. Ooh. The first two people they showed in the clip were Anna White. They showed Yokozuna and Rikishi. Bret the Hitman Hart. The bad guy, Razor Ramon. That's fucking cool. I miss when there was one Royal Rumble match. That made the Royal Rumble match very cool. It was fun. Now there's two. And that could be a bit of a pain. Even though they did a decent enough job of booking them differently, it's still two Rumble matches. It's unfortunate. Really unfortunate. This is called Doink an Alleged Clown. he implying that Doink ain't a real clown, despite the fact that he's dressed this way and he acts this way. But oh no, Doink's clearly fake arm. Here on Superstars, they're showing a clip of Superstars. And Doink's trying to apologize and give him a flower because he's been giving Crush a hard time. He's sorry. He's real sorry. Matt Bourne Doink is really good. Now look at that fake arm gimmick. And bang. It hit it right in the back of the goddamn head. Oh, they shot the girl selling it. Oh, he's hit him like 100 times with this thing now. Crush can't keep selling it, for Christ's sake. Okay, Matt, that's enough. All right, thank you. Well, he's still beating him with this damn thing. He's dead, okay? Goddamn, his blood should be all over it. His blood should be everywhere. Goddamn. Is that Sergeant Slaughter? Yeah, it is Sergeant Slaughter, isn't it? That's Tony Garea. No, that can't be Sergeant Slaughter. I think it is. Sergeant Slaughter was an official in '93. That looked like him. It looked a lot like him. They came out there to pull a Doink off the Crush. WWF Mania. Where you yell at the TV at 10 o'clock in the morning. Whatever. That's nuts. Vince and his Saturday morning cartoon wrestling. Well, the guy was a cut above, I can tell you that much. Yeah. 100% caffeine free. What does that even mean for Mania to be caffeine free? It's decaf wrestling? Oh, is that a good thing? I don't Vince, what is your marketing department doing? You know, whoever hired Bartlett and came up with that needs to go away. Hopefully they don't work there anymore. Big WWF monitors. There's Sean Mooney. He's outside in the cold again. It's January, and Stoneface Sean Mooney is once again outside in the cold. And there's the Repo Man. He's running around with Macho Man's hat.
Randy Savage.
It was with that freighter one. I came behind him and hit him. Wasn't that
Vicious attacks I've ever seen on a super. Darn right. That was vicious. He was late on the
Savage is yelling at Repo Man, who does not have a mic earpiece, so he can't hear nothing he's saying.
Never paid any attention to me, but now he is. I'm a nice guy. Ain't no thief. I'll tell you what, the Macho Man Randy Savage is very upset. You should hear the comments he was making.
What do you mean making a comment?
Yes, he can hear you right now.
Let me hear that. Let me hear that.
Hey, you're going to get a Monday Night Raw hangover. Let's do the thing right now. Come on up here, and I'm going to, hey, where do you want to land, Repo
Man? Where do you want to land?
And you flew. That's just the start of it. Because when I get you again, it's going to be worse. It's going to be like right down here in New York. Right down here in Manhattan. It could be a street fight.
Yeah, you're right. Not a chance on you doing the thing to me again. Hey, you got a good kickoff right there. How about a New York
Just remember. I have your hat.
Hey, I don't care.
And that's your prized possession.
Okay. Hey.
You were late with the payments and I got it.
Hey, brother, that doesn't even make it with me.
You made a.
Is that
you
right?
want to wrestle?
Hey. No, I don't want to wrestle. I want to do something different. We're going to have a date. Don't be late, brother. Just.
Hey. Now, wait a minute, Savage. This is going to be great because I'm going to put the boots to you. I can't wait to get you on the ring. I got your
Savage is very upset. He's very annoyed about this Repo Man stealing his hat. It's ridiculous. Like, legit. These people are fighting over a hat. But it's not even about the hat, really. It's about Repo Man attacking Randy Savage from behind like a coward and then running away. That's what this is about. You know, the hat just is something to show that it happened. So this is very weird. If you was to tell people like, yeah, they're fighting over a hat, like not really fighting over the hat. You know, the hat is what it is. Mean Gene Okerlund's here. He's running down the Royal Rumble card. I don't know. Maybe we need somebody to do this in the future. I think Excalibur does a really good job of that. He's very knowledgeable about the move set, about the performers, and he's very knowledgeable about how to run down a card. That's the best thing about Excalibur. He just runs down Rampage and Dynamite cards and pay-per-view cards. He just runs them shits down without a hitch. I've never heard that fool trip, stumble, take a breath, or anything. He just kind of goes on and on, just yelling names at you. It's like, wow, that's impressive. That's some really impressive shit. And when he watches it, oh, Razor's talking. I should stop talking.
Oh, I understand. It's personal now. Oh, I'm so scared. Chico, 1 week to go. Royal Rumble. Everybody knows. Razor Ramon. Gold on his neck. Gold on his fingers. When I'm done with you, gold on my waist.
I'm sure Razor Ramon.
Why didn't they do it? Razor probably should have won the title. I ain't gonna hold you up. Maybe I don't know if he should have won it at the Royal Rumble in '93, but I could think of at least 2 occasions where Razor probably should have been the champ. Crazy, this is only his singles. I think this is his only title shot too. Once he went down to the Intercontinental Championship division, he never got back up. That's sad. I wonder what the big deal was. Oh God. Oh, Ted DiBiase is still wrestling. Okay. He retired at SummerSlam '93. All right. So why isn't he on the show then? He needs to be here. I need to see some Ted DiBiase. There's a kid in my job who looks just like Marty Jannetty. Jesus H. Christ. I'm talking the druggy eyes, man. The shits is clear, but they're not. They're glassy. That's what they are. And you could just look at him and tell he's fucked up. And you could tell Marty Jannetty was fucked up when he took that picture. I can tell you that. Even though he's smiling and everything, there's a certain layer of glass in that eye where you're like, yeah, he's clearly not on the level. He's clearly not on the level. His special WWF suit, because the WWF is stitched on the pocket. Who would have thought to do that? They don't even wear suits. Well, they do wear suits now, but they're not embroidered or anything. Oh, every time this Bartlett guy's on the screen, I just think of just all horrible things. Oh, it's Sean Mooney. He's back. Again, not changing his facial expression. Randy Savage is in the streets of New York.
But it doesn't. I just want to ask I think we would have had a
problem. He wore a bow tie without he wore a tuxedo shirt.
It is obvious here if Randy Savage were to get a hold of Repo Man, it would be a bad scene. And I think Macho Man's finding out
he is in traffic. When I say go play in traffic, I don't mean like the Macho Man. They ain't got the balls to hit Macho Man. No goddamn car. Why would they want to damage their car like that? That man's gonna be all right. Who is this Raw girl? She wearing sensible shoes. I've never been this. It's El Matador. Tito Santana. Oh, they killing me. The crazy thing about El Matador is that everybody knew he was Tito Santana, and they continue calling him Tito Santana, but he's fucking El Matador. And he's wearing, and that thing in his hand, I think that's supposed to be like the Matador's hat, but he never actually wore it. He always just put it in the air. I don't understand. I don't understand why he's a bullfighter. He's Mexican. Why is he a bullfighter? Holy shit. Oh. Tito Santana versus Ric Flair. Okay. This ought to be fun. Would have been more fun maybe 10 years prior, but it would have been fun. This really would have rocked in '83. But this should be fun. Both of these guys are at the tail end of their careers. But Tito Santana still has some of the old magic. You go back and watch like some old Superstars matches or something like that. Tito ain't completely washed. And Flair is Flair. Flair is great up until, the TNA days. And it was like, okay, enough. Even though I think technically Flair probably jumped the shark in 2005. Maybe even before that, because he probably shouldn't have been wrestling in 07, or let alone 2010. But this ought to be fun here. Even though we know the story they're gonna tell, and we know who's going over, it still should be a fun match between two vets. And Flair's just he John at Savage at this thing. Okay. Oh. I can't believe that they had Tito as one of the two guys they was going to make the world champion. It's either Tito or Bret Hart. And it was Bret Hart. So Tito had to be El Matador. So what the fuck were they going to do to Bret if he didn't get it? Was he going to be Cowboy Bret Hart for real at that point? He ended up being a cowboy anyway, just basically a different kind of cowboy. But, this El Matador thing is just fucking with me because he's wearing pink and green. And are those like Matador colors? Are Matadors known for their pink and green outfits? I don't know. All of this is so strange. And even looking back at it 30 years later, you're like, why? Why on earth? And I also kind of question why Tito Santana is on the outside of WWE. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, I don't think. Is Tito Santana in the Hall of Fame? I don't think so. Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame yet, for starters? Second, why don't they do stuff? Like, I know he's like a mid-carder, but it could really utilize a guy like him as a trainer, even though I think he's a little bit older. He's very old. He's probably in his mid-30s then. He's probably 70-something now. But he also has some, institution. He worked there for a long time. He was a WWF regular for years and years. For him to just vanish off the face of the earth like that, it's very weird. And it also kind of says a lot about the whole Randy Savage thing that, he never came back. He was the one that didn't come back. It was like, he was in the 2004 Hall of Fame. Okay, good. It's weird when people you see all over the network and stuff like that who's been around for a long time, these guys, they disappear. Paul Orndorff was one of those guys before he passed away, where, incredible legacy. He's all over pretty much all the promotional materials around like WrestleMania, and even before that with the big event, him and Hogan in Toronto, drew a huge crowd. But Paul Orndorff was a guy that they never really brought him to do anything. And Tito Santana is another one of those guys. Greg Valentine is another one of those guys. Like, I don't know. That's why I was kind of surprised to see so much Greg Valentine on like Most Wanted Treasures and stuff. Like, he's one of those guys that it's like one of those people you see in public, you act like you never met him before. Like, I know him, but I don't look in that direction. He won't look in my direction. Why are they like that with Tito? What happened? What's going on? But Tito being in the Hall of Fame in 2004 seems about right, because he's on the tail end of his career right here. So 10 years later seems perfect. That's crazy. Like, I don't remember who they put in the Hall of Fame. I just remember the people that people don't like. That's the only thing. Like, I forget. I'm going to forget the Hall of Fame class almost immediately. I forgot last year's Hall of Fame class already. I don't remember. So I just remember that one year Batista was supposed to go in and it didn't happen yet. It's supposed to. I guess it's gonna happen this year, but they haven't announced any Hall of Fame stuff yet. Maybe they're waiting for the Rumble, or they're gonna wait for like a couple of weeks before WrestleMania. But they sell tickets to that event, so they need to hurry up and announce some shit. It would be nice if they start announcing names like the Royal Rumble. Oh my God. Oh my God, Flair. He just did the Billy Robinson joint, ran, and then just fell off the goddamn apron. Holy shit. Flair ain't there working his ass off, I can tell you that much. He's probably working too fast, but he's working his ass off. Oh, what was that supposed to be? Oh, here comes the flying forearm. Oh, he nailed Flair with that bitch too. Ooh, that was great. He didn't go for the pin. Oh, Flair's up. No wonder. That's nuts. That's my man's fucking finisher. He did his finisher and then went to the crowd like, yeah. Wait, what? Yeah, you know your days are numbered at that point. Oh shit. Mr. Perfect's out here, they throwing hands. This match is a disqualification for sure. So Flair wins by disqualification because Mr. Perfect came out there to beat the hell out of Flair. Not the finish that I was looking forward to, but okay. It's a sensible finish, considering Flair jumped Perfect earlier. Damn. Notice how oh, it's Pat Patterson. Notice how yeah, it is Sergeant Slaughter. That the officials are being pushed and kicked at and everything. They're shoving these guys out of the way. You know, it made it seem like it's a legitimate fight. Too often now, guys just back up because they're like, back up, back up, back up. And guys just back up. You know, I don't like that. Make it seem like you really wanted to fight this fucking guy. You know, they have to literally get in the way and push you back. I guess that was the main event because this show is almost over. So, Tito Santana and Ric Flair was the main event. Okay. That's a respectable main event. It ended in disqualification. It's not, though. That was not good. Okay, is Flair's coming back out here? That's what. Oh no, they fighting still. Oh shit. Flair's getting the hell out of here. He's running away. Pat Patterson is in the middle of this thing.
Don't talk to me. The rules. But out of the WWF. I can't believe you would risk your career, Mr. Flair. I can't believe you would do that. And I'm not too sure that Mr. Perfect is going to do that either. I can't. And you
and then he just kissed that woman
right now.
Flair's nuts.
Not man enough. You haven't got the guts, and you will never see the day in your life you beat Ric Flair. Take a Prozac.
That's pretty clear.
Flair is like a skeleton on fire at this point, man. This guy. He took a break from the promo to go kiss some young lady in the crowd. Vince was like, are you coming back? Is this over? or not? What's going on here? Oh, no, it's perfect. It's Perfect's turn to talk.
The WWF is not big enough for the two of you. He's going to put his career in the WWF on the line if you will. You're talking
is Vince being he's being the reasonable one. And the crowd is hyped for this shit.
Right here. Thank you very much. It came in just enough.
I'm telling you, man, Vince is good. Vince is good. He did a good job there. He really did. And Perfect and Flair were excellent. You know, he's supposed to be the straight man. He's not the boss in this point. You know, he's just the crossing guard. He's trying to make sure everybody, you guys are going too far. What are you guys doing? And they're like, nope, we're not going far enough. What is this?
Hey.
Oh no. Repo Man is still in his car and his hat. God damn it. It's a blazer. All right. I love that. That was excellent. A solid way to waste 40 minutes watching old episodes of Monday Night Raw. All right, guys. 3 hours, 20 minutes. This was an incredibly long episode of the program. Incredibly long. Usually I'm complaining about 10 o'clock about being tired. But because I got to watch a watch along, it was incredibly fun. I learned some stuff. I learned that Glenn Ruth, aka Thrasher of the Headbangers, had like a 12-minute match with Marty Jannetty on Monday Night Raw in 1993. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information, but I have it now. It also tells me that Headbangers were old as hell. At least one of them was, because this guy got a bald spot and a pension in this fucking ring. I don't understand what's going on. But wait a minute. I just now noticed that Mandy Rose is still on the NXT thing on the network. They haven't swapped her out yet. Maybe she'll be back before they do. Anyway, did you guys enjoy the watch along? Let me know in the comment section below. Did you guys? This video was an insane amount of time. Sorry. I know nobody's going to listen to this whole thing. I'm going to definitely chop it up and put it into pieces in here so people can listen to the watch alongs if they want. They can also listen to the current events if they want to do that and give them a decision. But thanks to everybody who came in and stayed the entire time. I appreciate everybody. And I'll see you guys around. Maybe Sunday, I think, is the next. Well, I gotta do a SmackDown video. But I'll see you guys on Sunday for the live stream. All right. Peace.